Morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and for being here today. We just returned from Washington, D.C. and New York, where we spent several days together in community. We spent one day on the Hill advocating for the end of genocide in Gaza and ending the assault on Lebanon and Iran. We also held community fundraising events for the rebuilding of the pediatric floor in Kamal Adwan Hospital. We are very thankful for our amazing community who continue to show up. Being in community and in solidarity for us has been profoundly energizing, and I think you'll hear from some of the members who joined us in community the last few days. However, the contrast is quite something of being on the Hill and in community. Those two things could not be more different. On the Hill, we meet with staffers who typically, and for the most part, they don't want to hear about Palestinian human rights, or any human rights for that matter. They do not care that after more than 2 years of live stream genocide and over 72,000 Palestinians killed, they don't care that nearly 2 million people are still displaced and without proper shelter and now facing a new siege and a new blockade. They simply do not want to hear about it. But then we come back to our community space where we hear from our colleagues who have been in Gaza, and from the Special Rapporteur on the Right to Health, who herself has been subjected to a vicious campaign by the Zionist criminals. We joined each other in love, in rage, and in commitment to never be bystanders, to always move and mobilize until Palestine is free, until our world is free of every oppression and injustice. We heard from community organizers and members who showed up with their hearts and their integrity. In that space, we always feel full and grateful. So thank you so much. I also want us to remember that while we are here, relatively safe, our brothers and sisters in Palestine, in Lebanon, in Sudan, in Congo, and Iran, they continue to be slaughtered with our tax money. I woke up this morning to a horror story from my own hometown of Nablus, where a family of 6 from the village of Tammoun near Nablus went shopping for Eid clothes. And for those who don't know, Eid is the Muslim holiday that comes after Ramadan, the month of fasting, compassion, and giving, something that every family looks forward to before Eid, which is really go out, get some shopping, get new clothes for Eid. Children get excited about their new clothes. You know, as a child, I still hold fond memories of the new clothes that I get to wear every Eid. Some children sleep with their clothes, like they tuck them in bed because they're looking forward to the day when they get to wear them on Eid. Families usually prepare ma'moul and ka'ak, which is the special Eid cookies, and spend time visiting family members, giving gifts to each other, and being in community. So this family of 6 was attacked by IOF criminals who opened fire in cold blood, murdering the father, a 35-year-old man, the mother, and 2 young children. Somehow the 2 other children were injured, but were spared. And you know, I watched the testimony of these boys, and I almost wonder if the soldiers decided not to kill these 2 young brothers, to leave them with this endless trauma, forced to witness what no child should ever see, shattered by their testimony of how it happened, their parents' last words, the interaction with the criminals who forced them into an army vehicle, beat them up, injured them, and killed their family members, just like that. One of the children asked an IOF criminal, "Do you like your parents?" he asked. The criminal answered, "Yes." So this child then asks him, "So why did you kill my parents?" And the soldier, so-called soldier, responded by punching the child in the face. Because when a criminal is confronted by their own cowardice, they only respond with more cowardice. If you're a parent, you would certainly understand that every parent's worst nightmare is to watch their children die, let alone killed in child blood. I saw videos of the parents of these killed fathers and mothers carrying their bodies and burying their own children. How cruel can the world be to let this happen all over again? If you are getting the voice of Hind Rajab flashbacks, you probably can see the correlation, and you can probably know, and you cannot be fooled, that Hind was not the only incident. Watching films like The Voice of Hind Rajab should compel us to take our rage and stop these atrocities from continuing. Watching is not meant to give us any moral privilege. It is meant to move us. And so our solidarity with the Palestinian people, with the Lebanese people, Congolese, Sudanese, and Iranian people is not charity, it is justice. Our mobilization is not optional, it is necessary until every Palestinian is free, until every parent can bury their parents and not their own children, until our world rejects every form of oppression. We will continue to fight, we will continue to organize, and we will continue to speak truth to power. I want to end by sharing a little bit from the fundraiser in New York and give you an update on the Rebuilding the Kamal Adwan Hospital initiative. Just bear with me 1 second while I get the video.
My experience of being with Palestinian healthcare workers in Gaza was that they teach life. These are our colleagues that are being tortured, killed, and I feel so much rage, so much rage. We have to explain to people who prioritize genocide and war in this world.
We have to walk side by side with them. When a mother comes to the emergency department and her children are melted in plastic bags, that is not resilience, that is pain. And we can't put that mother on a pedestal as much as we would like to. The responsibility is no mother should ever have to deal with that.
This was just a small part of the amazing testimonies that we got to hear in community last few days. So the last few weeks, we've held 3 community fundraisers, one in Michigan, Washington, D.C., and New York. All of these events have happened because of community members, volunteers, folks who have full-time jobs, who are doing this because of their commitment to justice. And I want to recognize every single one of them. We see fundraising as not a charity. It is actually a privilege, an obligation to support our brothers and sisters. And with your support, we were able to raise over 130,000 towards the goal of 250,000. That will cover the first phase of the Kamal Adwan rebuilding project. So my call to you today is to encourage every one of you to challenge yourself, not only to give, but to organize and to turn your collective rage into tangible outcomes on the ground. I want to encourage you all to organize community fundraisers to support the rebuilding of Kamal Adwan Hospital, because when we rebuild a hospital, we rebuild life and we give people a reason to actually be resilient. And so the first stage will cost 250,000, but there are several stages that are going to happen after this first stage. And so we look for your support, we look for your solidarity, and I want to thank you all for being here again. Thank you.
Thank you, Maisa. Thank you for this opening. Very important. And I want to emphasize what Maisa mentioned. First of all, by thanking every one of you, every one of our supporters and members. None of this work that we do would have been possible without the help, the dedication, the effort that each and every one of you is adding to this movement and to this organization. And we're not going to say names because we don't want to miss anyone, but you all know each other and you know yourselves. We are really grateful. As Doctors Against Genocide, we are grateful for you, for your contribution. As Palestinians, we are grateful for all the work, all the dedication, all the integrity that you are showing. And again, The Palestine question is not just Palestinians against their perpetrators. It is a human question. We continue to emphasize that what is happening in Palestine is the epitome of all what is wrong in this humanity. And we can almost guarantee that if we fix the structures of injustice, oppression, apartheid, genocide, superiority, supremacy that is happening in Palestine, we can really fix all of these wrongs that are happening all over the world. We, the people, whoever we are, the people of good conscience, white, black, brown, Muslim, Jewish, Christians, all of us, we need to really unite, stand up together, because the ones who are exploiting our humanity, the ones who are dividing us, the ones who are turning us against each other so they can make profit, are united. They are, as you know from those ruling class documents and all the things that we have been hearing, they are coming in all shapes, forms, colors, religions. So if the enemies of humanity are uniting, and they are very powerful, we, the people, need to unite all the people of good conscience. And it is honestly a situation of emergency. We have to do it fast before their power exponentially escalates to the point that we will not be able to do it or unfix or fix what has been all the wrong that has been done if we wait much longer. And as the title of this webinar says, that we as doctors and healthcare workers treat genocide as a public health catastrophe. It's a disease, and it's very similar to a malignant cancer. And cancer, if it's left unchecked, untreated, we know it does not stop on its own. It's not going to have a moral awakening and decide that's not going to be a malignant cancer anymore. It will continue to spread. It will continue to metastasize. It will continue to cause more damage until it overwhelms and kills the body itself, which is our humanity. And we know that from medicine, the best way we do for cancers, for all these public health emergencies, is prevention. So we always need to recognize the early signs and symptoms of these illnesses. That's why we do cancer screening. We need to do genocide screening. We need to do apartheid screening. We need to do hate speech screening, supremacy screening, and try to intervene as healthcare community and people of the world against any society, against any regime that is built and fosters these beliefs. If we fail to screen, which is the best case scenario, if we do screen, we intervene early, we can prevent the harm and we can get the best outcome. If we fail to screen, at least we have to intervene and treat it as early as possible. We know that the impunity that the world and major powers are giving to Israel is what's allowing their cancer to spread. That's why they spread into Lebanon, into Iran, into everywhere. They are actually here in the United States. They are going into the healthcare system. They are going to have our data. Our hospitals are allowing them to have our access to our patients' data and use their AI models in our data. They are controlling our financial system. They are controlling, and their lobbies controlling our politicians. They are spreading the fascism that they learned here. They are the one who training ICE. They are the one who training our police. So no one is safe and immune from this cancer, from this genocidal regime. That's why we need to do everything we can and mobilize as many people as possible to stop it, for the sake of all humanity, not just for the Palestinian people. So thank you everyone for joining us. We will have a great webinar today. We have so many great speakers. As usual, we like to start with Gaza before they lose their connection. We have one of our colleagues, Dr. Abdul Wahab Abu Warda. He's a general surgeon from Al-Shifa Hospital. And him and Dr. Muhammad Kozais, actually, who was on a mission last month to Gaza, they had the vision or suggestion to, since there are so many people in Gaza who are in urgent need of surgery, urgent need of intervention, the waiting lists in Gaza, as you all, more than 18,000 need urgent evacuation for treatment. And those lists cannot be dealt with in the public health sector in Gaza. We had this small project, or the idea of having surgeries for certain cases as much as we can at certain private hospitals that still have the capacity to do this. And the plan was for Doctors Against Genocide to fund that project. We started with pilot program for about 10 cases, and alhamdulillah, all 10 cases were completed with the generosity of all of you with your donations, and all of them did well, and they're recovering well. Dr. Abu Warda is here to share with us a summary of that project that they did, and some feedback about this first stage of offering surgeries for people on long wait lists. At least try to help as many people as we can. Dr. Abdul Wahab, are you with us? I'm not sure about his connection. Seems he keeps coming back and forth. I'll wait a minute or two for him. I hope he's in a place that has a good connection. Dr. Abdul Wahab, do you hear us? Dr. Abdul Wahab, do you hear us? Okay.
Unmuted, but I don't know if he can hear.
We can, I want to hear from Yiping about his reflections on the events that we had in the last couple of weeks. This maybe will give Dr. Abdul Wahab some time to get his connection fixed. Yiping, as always, I'm not going to say a lot to you, but as always, much thanks, much appreciated for everything you do. You are always amazing, and you always add huge value everywhere you go. So thank you, Yiping.
Thank you, Dr. Nadal. I think the experience of just being in community with so many like-minded healthcare workers, allies, people who know what it means to be in solidarity with Palestine in this moment, but to also to stand with Palestine means to be against genocide everywhere, and to, I think, embody this, we organize and we keep pushing despite the obstacles that we face, and the obstacles that we face from where we are in the belly of the beast, knowing that taxpayer dollars from Canada, from the US, go to fund war and genocide and militarism on the other side of the planet. We know that our struggle for liberation, for collective liberation, is interconnected, and our freedom and our liberation is interconnected with Palestinians. And I think just being with people who are doing what they can and organizing and mobilizing is such a emotional experience, because we are fueled by love, and our love turned into action is solidarity. And that is what we must keep doing. And I just see so much hope and inspiration when I spend time with people who organize with Doctors Against Genocide. But the same goes for many other groups that continue to do this unrelenting work of solidarity. And I think I'm reminded that this work is lifelong, that this work is intergenerational. Of course, we want to see Palestine free within our lifetimes. And I do think with the international solidarity efforts that continue, this will happen, but this will also happen because Palestinians will free themselves. But that doesn't absolve us of our responsibility to organize from within the belly of the beast, because it is our taxpayer dollars that are being used to fund the bombs that continue to be dropped by Israel in places like Gaza, but also Iran and Lebanon. And just seeing how our healthcare worker colleagues continue to be slaughtered en masse in places like Lebanon, we're seeing this policy and practice that Israel has used to destroy the healthcare system in Gaza. And that's the only reason why healthcare is being rebuilt. Why was it destroyed? Israel destroyed and attacked every hospital in Gaza. And this policy and practice that the Zionist occupation has done to Gaza is being exported. to other places like Lebanon. And Gaza and Palestine has always been this laboratory, this testing ground for these weapons and for this economy of war and genocide and militarism that so many countries, including Canada, seem so pleased to continue to engage with and fund and sponsor. And I hope that more and more people recognize the importance of community well-being and love and humanity as at the center of why we do this work, is that we want to protect life, and we see that it is sacred, and we see that Palestinians teach life. And by standing with Palestine, it means we uphold these things and we protect these things, and we are co-creating a society and world where war and militarism is not centered. Rather, it is people's well-being, the well-being of the planet. And yeah, I do think back to Sally Rooney's words. I just want to pull them up again because it's just so clear in my eyes, and I hope it becomes more and more clear to more people over time. And it's only through efforts like yours that more people are able to wake up to this reality that we're fighting for a world that is survivable, is livable for everyone by standing in solidarity with Palestine. And so let me just pull up her words. I think she's Sally Rooney is an Irish author and writer. And so these were the words that she shared at the Hague group meeting, I think about a week or 2 weeks ago. By standing in solidarity with Palestine, we are learning how to fight for life on earth. By standing in solidarity with Palestine, we are learning how to fight for life on earth. And I think that's the work that we're all doing here, is to find a path forward where human life, the life of plants, the life of animals, the life of the planet can survive. Because I just wake up to new horrors every day with how warmongers by the ruling class, the people with a lot of power and a lot of wealth, are destroying the planet and destroying human life in unprecedented scales. I think within many of our lifetimes, it's just unprecedented the ways in which the warmongers choose to destroy the planet. And Palestine has shown us this, shown so many of us this. And I hope we continue to work towards that solidarity work, to do everything that we can within our power. And I see so many people doing this. And we're organizing, for example, more boats to break the illegal siege by Israel on Gaza. And these boats will sail next month, hopefully. And I know there's also a solidarity effort to break the illegal siege and blockade on Cuba. And these are, the same things that are happening to so many different people around the world because the people in power want to maintain a system of oppression that destroys life, that destroys healthcare, that destroys a generation of and future generations of children that can really help fight for a different world, help struggle for a world where well-being is put at the center and love is put at the center.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Yiping. Always educating and inspiring to listen to you. And thank you for all what you do. And I think our colleague from Gaza is still having problem with the connection, so we're gonna go to our next speaker, who happens to be also very strong DAG supporter. She's Palestinian American, Annie Habibi. I'm gonna read some of her bio. She is an economist, a writer, and a humanitarian activist. Her career spans investment banking, chief economist for the Royal Commission in Riyadh, working with more than 1,000 entrepreneurs across emerging economies in the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia. For a decade, Annie was the executive director of the Initiative for a Competitive Inner City, founded by Professor Michael Porter of the Harvard Business School. Along with Professor Porter, she co-authored the Harvard Business School case studies, numerous publications, and has spoken at TEDx and global forums worldwide. Annie is also the co-author of Daring to Hope, Daring to Hope, Witness from Gaza, with Muhammad Balah, one of the one of the greatest comeback stories in modern sports. She has also recently published the book Age Strong, Living Without Limits on Substack at Annie Habibi. So Annie, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the work that you do. And thank you for your great and generous support for DAG. I know you always been on our webinars, you listen to them, but we are proud and we are happy to have you in this panel and share some of your reflections on our work and on your work. تفضلي.
شكرا كتير. Can you hear me, Dr. Nidal?
Yes, we hear you very good.
First of all, as a Palestinian Christian, I say with all my heart and with all my soul, Ramadan Kareem. Ramadan is my favorite month of the year. I'm usually in Riyadh, which is a very unique experience of Ramadan. So to you, you are, I mean, I think all Palestinians, we are one faith. We are from the Holy Lands. I've spent possibly as much time at the Al-Aqsa Mosque as I have at the Church of the Nativity or the Holy Sepulchre. So I really want to extend from the Christian Palestinian community my love in this time of Ramadan. May I have the privilege of sharing my screen for you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me know when you see something.
You got so many hearts in 2 minutes that I got in a whole year, Annie. What's the problem?
Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
You should be able to share it, Annie. Just
Okay, hold on. Is
Take
there
your
anything
time.
I need to do to share apart from just putting my screen?
do you see the share the screen option at the bottom of
The green button down there?
ما في.
No, share. It's a green button.
Yeah, لا ما
The
في.
arrow.
where?
No, I don't
If you want
see
to send it,
that.
if you want to send it to me, we'll share it for you. That will work too.
Well, what I'm going to try to do then is I'll bring it to life. I'm going to have to look at my slides. So if you see my eyes not focused on you, please forgive
But
me.
we'd
They
like
are
to see the slides too, if it's possible, if you don't mind. I mean,
hold
just-
on. Then what we can do, Dr. Nida, just send me your email if that's okay. And then you can have somebody else maybe speak, and then we'll pop up the slides if that's all right with you. I don't know why I don't have the arrow. Oh, Stena. It's not green. That was the
Oh, okay. What is
it
it?
was.
You
Well,
found it?
it's yeah. So you have to
Good.
give me just a moment. I'm just going to choose any window and then I'll get there.
Yes, it's
Oh.
working. Good.
Okay, now do you see a picture you recognize? Do you
Yes.
see yourselves? Okay. The story starts with you.
Okay.
And so what I
And
want
We
to,
don't see ourselves.
we see a black screen.
okay,
It's okay.
You may need to
Hold
open
on.
that file or something.
Maybe stop
Close
sharing
documents.
and look for the screen you really want to share.
Yeah, I know. This is very odd. Stop sharing. Hold on. Let me give it one more shot here.
Okay, take your time.
No, I appreciate everybody's time here, so I am don't know why I'm not getting it. Is it possible, and I'm really embarrassed to ask, if you could go to someone else and I send
Yes.
it to you?
Yeah,
Yes.
Evelyn is
Yeah.
here actually. So
Yeah,
Dr.
we can go with Dr. Evelyn, then we'll come back to you. Please send it to info@doctorsagainstgenocide.org, the file, so we can have it in the email,
Yeah.
then we'll have it ready for you.
Okay, right away.
Thank you, Anna Habibi. Thank you. Okay, so good timing. Evelyn, I think your
Evelyn.
background, you have to remove the background. It's not looking good.
Oh, okay. Let me do that again.
Yeah.
Can you remind me how to do it? How did we do it last time?
I think you have to go on video. On the video, there's an arrow.
Video. لا ده
Background.
video.
Adjust the background and turn it off. Turn off the virtual background.
Portrait original.
Virtual background. And just choose none from the first option. Choose none.
Yeah, I found it last time. I'm just trying to.
So see the video, the picture of the video. There's an arrow next to it. Press on the arrow. Then go to adjust background and effects. And once you press on that, go down to virtual background. And from those options, choose none, which is the first option. No virtual background.
Backgrounds. Yeah.
Oh, I'm learning. I'm becoming better at this.
I'm very impressed.
I'm impressed, honestly. I always had a hard time, but now it
I'm
looks
very, very impressed.
because I think we have done it many times. Yeah. Yeah. With few more webinars, I'll be doing the sharing too and everything.
None. Here it is. Okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay, good.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Dr. Evelyn Hetti, thank you for joining us. I know it's tough for you, it's hard. I know you're busy. For those who did not hear from Dr. Evelyn last week, Dr. Evelyn is a professor of emergency medicine at the American University of Beirut. I think you are the chair of the emergency department or one of the sections of the emergency department. Dr. Evelyn is going to give us updates about the situation and the unfolding catastrophic situation in Lebanon. Annie, if you can just mute yourself, please. Um, um, as we said, the genocidal and ethnic cleansing campaign that genocidal Israel is unleashing on Lebanon is causing a catastrophic humanitarian situation on a huge scale. Almost 1 million people have been forcibly displaced from the south of Lebanon. Hundreds of people have been killed. Maybe thousands have been injured. And as what Yiping mentioned, the attacks on healthcare has been becoming kind of a template for the genocidal Israeli regime. That they did start it in Gaza with Al Ma'madani Hospital. The first time they said, no, it wasn't us. No, we apologize. It must be their rockets or stuff like that. But once they got the world to get used to it, then they start doing it on a mass scale, and that's usually how they do things. And now, I mean, in Lebanon, they're not even apologizing. And we have terrible news last week of direct attack on a healthcare center in Lebanon, killing more than a dozen healthcare workers. But we will hear more of this from Dr. Evelyn. I don't want to take much from her time. Please you join me to welcome Dr. Evelyn. Thank you, Dr. Evelyn. Please give us what's happening now.
All right. So I thank you, Nidal, for the introduction and for the update. You kind of covered the main issues, but I will go into it a little bit more detail. So I went today to the Ministry of Public Health of Lebanon's website, and I saw this graphic. And it was a bit morbid because these infographics were started during COVID. And very quickly, they were adapted to what is a totally man-made disaster that we are facing today. So this is from March 15th, 850 martyrs, 2,100 wounded. This is the pediatric count here. So those 331 peds wounded with 107 killed. This is just since the beginning. So now we're looking at, I think it's been around 12 days. Health sector attacks. So in COVID, we were looking at health sector occupancy, and they've replaced that with health sector attacks because, again, as you said, this is now a key tenet and feature of Israeli aggression and attacks. So far, 32 healthcare workers killed, 58 wounded, 30 ambulances that have been struck and out of commission, 13 medical centers that have been attacked. 5 hospitals closed either from attacks or from evacuation orders and threats that they've had to evacuate and close down. And 46 EMS workers that have been attacked. This is in addition to the deaths. So just kind of to put this into perspective, this is in Lebanon, as in Gaza, this is not a war between two armies. This is not the Israeli army versus the Lebanese army. This is the Israeli army attacking large parts of our population, specifically targeting the south, which is the south because that is where the shared border is. And naturally, most of the resistance has emerged from the south. And just by demographic, the south is primarily Shia, which is a sect, it's a Muslim sect within Lebanon. And as a result, what Israel has been targeting within Lebanon, and I think a distinctive feature is that because we are a very diverse country, what they have been doing is specifically targeting the Shia sect. From evacuation orders to areas that are predominantly Shia to attacking the infrastructure, the neighborhoods, the roads, the bridges in those areas, as well as primarily the health sector and the hospitals in those areas. And the reason for that is clearly just collective punishment of that community. And what is a very prominent feature, especially in this war, but it started in the 2024 attacks, Israeli attacks, is the targeting of host communities. So as the Shiite community and the communities from the south move and migrate up and are displaced north, they are entering areas that are not necessarily predominantly Shia, and there are definitely hosting communities that are welcoming them. But to form an internal divide between the communities, they are now targeting host communities as well to create this internal pressure against this community as well. So this is a prominent feature of the collective punishment that is happening here in Lebanon. And it is collective punishment, and it is an ethnic cleansing project because this does not begin with this war. It did not begin with Hezbollah. So in 1919, Weizmann, who is the president of the Zionist organization, said that the Litani, which is the main river that they keep mentioning, it's a river, the main river that runs through the south, is an essential is essential to the future of the Jewish national home. In 1941, Ben-Gurion also had that plan of occupying the southern part of Lebanon up to the Litani. 1948 as well. Then 1978, the Israeli army invaded southern Lebanon up to the Litani River. Mind you, all of this is before the emergence of Hezbollah as a resistance movement. UN resolution at the time forced the withdrawal back to the border. Then in 1982, Israel re-invaded, going past beyond the Litani River all the way up to Beirut and beyond. 2006, again, re-invasion, also trying to get up to the Litani, and then 2024 and 2026. So I say this just because I know that a lot of the narrative is that this is a targeting of a specific party. But in fact, this is an ethnic cleansing, again, an ethnic cleansing and a project of land grab and occupation of a colonial entity that is trying to occupy parts of Lebanon, if not all. And a prominent feature of this, as it was in Gaza, is the attacks on health. And the attacks on health, what we saw in Gaza is the Israeli military weaponizing health in the sense that it is using health as a form of hybrid warfare, using military tactics that are usually used against other militaries, but now using them against healthcare workers and healthcare facilities. So hybrid warfare is the use of conventional weapons through non-conventional means to cause harm. And the non-conventional means that Israeli army has made a prominent feature in both the Gaza war and now in Lebanon is the use of health as a medium through which you can accelerate harm, access deaths, and direct deaths. So whether it is targeting the healthcare centers or healthcare workers, and we're seeing this, the impact of this. So what is the impact of this? When we try to, so we are a tertiary care center and we are on the receiving end of many of the casualties, especially pediatric casualties from many of these areas that are impacted. And as you know, it's very important to get them to the tertiary care centers as quickly as possible because the peripheral healthcare centers are under-resourced, both in terms of surgeons and in terms of blood bank and in terms of imaging. So the sooner we can get these kids, these casualties and these pediatric war injured children to the tertiary care centers in Beirut, the better the outcomes. But one of the biggest problems we're having is that there are very few medics that are able to get to those areas because they're being targeted. So some pre-hospital care organizations have totally abandoned those areas, or basically not abandoned, but have basically said that we are no longer able to go there safely. So they are no longer serving those areas. And then the few that are serving at great cost. So just a couple days ago, this was not last night, the night before, a primary healthcare center in the south was targeted. And with it, there were 12 pre-hospital care providers and rescuers who were killed. That was just one incident where 12 ended up dying because of the targeted attack by Israeli military. So this is one example of how this is impacting directly the health of patients. But again, this is not just the impact of the direct impact on casualties and accelerating death and morbidity through denying and depriving the populations and those who have been impacted directly by the trauma, but it's also depriving of the remaining population in those areas from care for chronic diseases and acute care that is non-trauma related. So this is where the idea of access deaths comes out, and which we saw in Gaza and in the permutations and simulations there that really ends up really outnumbering the direct deaths and mortality from the actual traumas by a much greater number. Anywhere between 4 to 10 is what the estimations are. So for every one direct mortality from trauma, the estimate is that there are between 4 to 10 excess deaths. And in RED, we are seeing this by really high acuity of the displaced that are coming in because of interrupted care. The last patient I took care of was someone who had been displaced from the south and had stopped taking his Lasix for the past week. So came in CHF requiring ICU care. So this is how this is cascading down to the individual patient. So what is happening at health centers, not in areas where a lot of the attacks are happening, there's definitely a large burden of casualties and displaced care, as I mentioned last week. But I do want to point out what is a very challenging feature of the casualty load that we have. So we are the receiving center for pediatric war-injured children. And other than Gaza, I think we have now the largest cohort of pediatric war-injured children. But that is not an experience that we have. We have really excellent healthcare here, but I don't think you can take that volume of pediatric war-injured children to any healthcare center in the world, and I don't think they have the experience with this volume and with this type of patients that we're seeing. So blast injuries in pediatrics that are requiring really multidisciplinary teams to think through what's the best surgery, come up with the plans of care. Keeping in mind that we're not a country that has a lot of experience with trauma. When I moved from Baltimore to Lebanon in 2009, and after the first 10 years here, many people would ask, aren't you worried about being in Lebanon? Isn't it safe? But I would say that in my past 10 years here, I've seen maybe a total of 3 gunshot wounds. That was what I would see in a shift in Baltimore. So I say this to just highlight that trauma care and experience in trauma care is relatively new, especially with this complexity. So you have a lot of pediatric war injured, 1,400 from the 2024 Israeli attacks on Lebanon that we are still caring for. We haven't even gotten through that load of patients, and we're still caring for them. Many needing repeat surgeries, out of those 1,400, we have at least 100 pediatric head injuries that we are taking care of amongst the cohort. So pediatric head injuries with all of the neuropsych, behavioral requirements, psychological requirements that they need. Seizures are very common. So this cohort is a new cohort that requires really distinctive expertise that we're on a learning curve. We're trying to learn and build up this expertise. And that's just at the beginning. Past that, from the 2024, now we're trying to figure out, again, something that we don't have tremendous experience in: prosthesis care, physical medicine and rehab. There is no physical medicine and rehab expertise in Lebanon. I think we have one in the entire country. So we have people coming in and out trying to help us and trying to work with the surgeons and the physical therapist and the prosthesis experts on how do we offer this service, and how do we bring the prosthesis care, effective prosthesis care, the right prosthesis care to children. So all of these are experiences that we are having to learn and build, because it is not a country that had a lot of trauma in general, and definitely not at this scale and this complexity. And this is just kind of the medical, but there's beyond that. I mean, we had our palliative care team brought in a couple days ago, and it wasn't to take care of a terminal patient. It was because we needed their help with breaking bad news to the 2 siblings who we now had to tell their mom passed away and their father had already passed away in the blast, so that they were now orphaned. So the palliative care, we had to lean on the palliative care team. This is new to them as well. But just as giving an example of some of the challenges that we're having, and learning how to manage and how to care for these children. I don't think it's experience that anybody has tremendous experience with, but even here, it's all something that we're building up and we're learning as we go. So those are some of the challenges that we're facing as we try to adjust and work with each other to build this expertise that these patients need, in addition to handling the volume. And this is, of course, just focusing on the casualties, not looking at the displaced and all of the delayed care and the impact of that delayed care on outcomes of patients in that population as well. So what can we do beyond trying our best to care for everybody, for the displaced, for the non-displaced, who are also delaying care actually, and for the casualties? I think there's a lot that we can do as a medical community. And I would say that one of the biggest thing for me, I think that we all need to highlight is the principle of medical neutrality that has essentially almost been buried in the past couple years. But we can't let it die. And we cannot let it be conflated with this idea and this notion that medical neutrality means that we as physicians need to stay medically neutral when it comes to health. Medical neutrality is the concept that we have to continue to provide access to care to patients, irrespective of what side of the conflict they are on, during times of war. And also the idea that we need to protect the health of those who refuse to abandon those patients. And that idea and the slaughter of healthcare workers, of medics, particularly who are out trying their best to rescue patients, this is something that we, as stewards of health, need to be the most vocal and leading on. The idea that medical organizations today are silent on this is just surreal to me. It's not just silent, but also complicit in persecuting those physicians and healthcare workers who are trying to uphold this principle. So the American Medical Association has a declaration of professional conduct. I think that's what it was. I just want to look it up because I think Declaration of Professional Responsibility. This is the American Medical Association. So in this declaration, it says that we as physicians have to advocate for social, economic, educational, and political change that ameliorates suffering and contributes to human well-being. So as American physicians, this is one of our obligations, and yet those who are trying to do this and uphold the principle of just saying, we should not be attacking healthcare organizations and that we should be upholding medical neutrality. Even for that, there is persecution, there is silencing, there is canceling of speakers around this topic. And I think this is something that should be core and a priority for all of us to fight and push back against. Because if we can't push back against the idea that we need to protect health and healthcare workers, I'm not sure what we can be effective at as physicians. So I will end and maybe open it up to questions by just, making the call that this I think should be a priority. And I think ultimately there will be, and there should be, a Nuremberg 2.0. And I think medical organizations and their responsibility and their complicity and the impact of their silence on this issue should be something that they should be held accountable for ultimately. But that accountability needs to start with us championing within all of our medical organizations for condemnation of Israeli attacks on health and its decimation and weaponization of health. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hetty. That was powerful. Thank you for this comprehensive review. And I want to take it even further. I mean, our obligation as doctors, healthcare workers, is to call for the protection of health care systems and healthcare workers, but also to call out any system that puts human life at risk, to champion and to protect the people too, not just the healthcare system, because calling out these systems of injustice, apartheid, occupation, genocide, which are greater pathogen that are claiming more lives than the regular pathogens, is a medical duty. So calling out ethnic cleansing, forced expulsions, genocides, occupation is a medical duty to protect life for everyone, and it's part of our job and health care as healthcare workers. And it has nothing to do with the medical neutrality, as you said. Medical neutrality means we will provide for everyone, no matter who they are, in any circumstances. But silence on these crimes that are claiming the lives of hundreds of thousands of people is a complicity and enablement of the genocide. So, as healthcare workers, we are obligated to speak out against them. But also on the personal level, they think that we're trying to do propaganda, we're attacking them, with false accusations or for political reasons, which is not true. We are doing that to protect life. Because, Dr. Hitti, are you a Shia Muslim? Dr. Hitti?
I'm born Maronite Christian.
Exactly. So you are a Maronite Christian. You are not a Shia Muslim. We are not doing this as a propaganda. You are a Maronite Christian in Lebanon, on the ground, seeing what is happening. You've been there for decades, and you know what is right, what is wrong, and you know who's the aggressor here and who is endangering lives, and who is committing and propagating genocide. The other thing is around your hospital. I mean, we know that there's almost 1 million people who are being forcibly displaced or expelled from their homes. Around your hospital, there's tens of thousands of displaced communities who need care at your hospital. And we are hoping that we can start a program to support you, especially in the emergency room, to take care of these people. Any idea about how us or the community can support uh, your hospital, for example, to provide more care for those people who have been, expelled from their homes, and they have no homes now. Most of them are in the streets. They have no medications. They have no access to food, and many of them are experiencing deteriorating health conditions. تفضل دكتورة أرجلين.
Certainly. I mean, there are many good organizations who are doing a lot of good work and opening primary care centers across the country and trying to help with the displaced specifically. The American University of Beirut and the Lebanese American University are both in the area that I work in, and this is one of the areas that has received tens of thousands of displaced. As American organizations, the American University of Beirut, I think it's the easiest and it does offer, I guess, an easy way to for those looking to donate. We have an ED support fund, and that support fund goes to the treatment of displaced patients. For those of you who are unaware of how our healthcare system works, we have public hospitals, and around 15% of the capacity in Lebanon, or healthcare capacity, is 15 to 18% is in the public health sector, and the rest is really private sector. And unlike places like the US, it's a pay prior to service model unless you are coming in essentially really unstable. So what does that mean? It means a lot of people will opt not to either delay care or not go to private hospitals if there is no mechanism and there's no funding for the care there, especially in emergency departments. So what we did in 2024 is through fundraising campaigns, were able to get donations to care for emergency department patients who were displaced. We ended up in the 2 months caring for close to 800 displaced patients. Keeping in mind those 800 are the high complexity. So we would refer a lot of our low complexity that comes into the ED to our primary care centers. So the 700 is generally, we're looking at intermediate to high complexity of patients, many of whom require critical care. And it allowed us to uphold our mission and our professional values and the need to screen, evaluate, stabilize all patients that came to our doors. So this is what we will continue to strive for and continue to do for all patients that come in, and certainly any funds that come through this ED support fund will go towards those patients.
Yeah, so thank you. So please support our people and our communities in Lebanon who need your help through any organization that you're aware of that are working on the ground and doing a good work. And
NAMA also, I think
Yeah.
NAMA has done a fundraising campaign. So there are multiple organizations. American University of Beirut is chartered in New York, so that's an easy way to donate. But I know that there are also lots of good organizations doing a lot of good work.
Yeah, that's great. So you can donate through that. And actually, we are finalizing some partnership, us and Dr. Evelyn through AUB. So DAG can be also sending funds to AUB to support the treatment of as many of these displaced, people who need help and care. So please, we're gonna get this set up soon. Grama,
Can I
yeah,
make a
go
pitch
ahead.
for one other organization?
Yes.
The Ghassan Abu Sitta Fund is also, so that's more focused on actually casualty care, especially pediatric war injured children. So the fund cares for both patients that have been evacuated from Gaza to Masr to Egypt to Lebanon, and then also for Lebanese pediatric war injured children. So that's more of a casualty fund, and that's the fund that we are using for the 1,400 from the 2024 attacks, and then all the pediatric war injured children that we've been receiving since.
Perfect. Anyone has any questions for Dr. Hetti, please?
Unfortunately, the need seems to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and we just need to work together and put our hands together to try to support all these communities that are affected. So thank you, Evelyn. This was very powerful and sobering.
Thank you for all that you guys do to raise awareness and advocate.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Dr. Evelyn?
There is a question in the questions and answer whether American University of Beirut is receiving any funding from the US government. Evelyn?
We used to receive a lot of USAID. I'm not sure what's happened recently with the Trump administration, honestly. I know that it was stopped at one point. I don't know if they ended up then opening it back up.
And just to clarify, Dr. Evelyn is in Lebanon right now. She is not in the US, and the appeal is to support the university, the emergency room, the hospitals to take care of all the influx of patients from the south, including those displaced and including those injured. So that's what we are trying to do. And she also mentioned in her presentation that a lot of children who need support are getting some support through palliative care. And palliative care is not very well developed in the Middle East. Families usually take care of each other during difficult times, and the community support structure is very strong. But now, whether in Gaza, whether in Lebanon, we are faced with families that are decimated with sole survivors or a couple of kids who are surviving. So it's becoming very challenging to support these families psychologically. And as Dr. Evelyn said, everyone is learning on the go. It looks like Dr. Abdul Wahab is here.
Yeah, we have a good problem here that all our speakers are ready, so we're gonna go back in order. But before I go, Evelyn, do you need any doctors or healthcare workers on medical missions now? Is there a need for this, or it's mostly that you do have the personnel, you just need more financial support and stuff like that?
So there are certain expertise that are missing. So if anybody's interested, we do have specific niches that don't that are far and few between in Lebanon, where the Ministry of Health is sending also missions that are coming and physicians that are coming with missions is to many of the peripheral hospitals because surgical expertise there also needs reinforcement. So if anybody, of course, you can refer anybody who any questions about that to me, and I can refer them to the Ministry of Health, who is doing the distribution and kind of deployment of the different expertise.
Is there a place on the website of the Ministry of Health for people if they want to check on their own, or?
I'm not sure, but there is a platform that is being built through AUB to connect people who would like to volunteer with international organizations. So I can send you that if once they launch it. I think they're launching it in the next couple days.
Okay.
So it's like you put in your information as a volunteer, and then they match you to the international organization and the location that you would like to volunteer in.
Yeah, that will be very helpful. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Bleed. Stay safe. May God protect you and protect Lebanon and Iran and Palestine and every place in the world except those who are committing the crimes and the genociders. So thank you. So let's go back to our schedule before Dr. Abdul Wahab is back. Alhamdulillah, he managed to get his connection fixed. Dr. Abdul Wahab, a general surgeon from Al Shifa Hospital, he actually brought the idea of trying to do some surgeries for people who need these surgeries. They have been on the waiting list for a long time, and because the medical evacuations from Gaza have been denied for a long time, and even when they allow them very few numbers, not enough to take care of all these people. And actually, since the war in Iran started, they stopped the evacuations altogether. So Dr. Abdul Wahab had this idea, and we agreed with him about having this pilot project, doing surgeries at a small private hospital. Thank you, Dr. Abdul Wahab. Thank you for joining us. Please tell us about how is the program going, how many cases did you do so far, what is the outcome, and what is the ongoing need. تفضل.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry I don't have a good internet connection so
وعليكم
bad.
السلام. That's good now.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, we finished 10 cases from our list, this waiting list since around 1 year. We start with cases with cancer. We finished 5 cases: cancer, colon cancer, rectal cancer, thyroid cancer, and another case is closure colostomies. This patient complained from colostomy since beginning of the war, so more than 2 years. The waiting list here for super major cases more than 1 year. So we finished the 10 cases during just 2 weeks, alhamdulillah, and all the patients back to discharge from hospital without cancer, without colostomy. So this is, I think, is a good project supported from DAG. We do the project at Al Sahaba Private Hospital. We have a lot of cases need the intervention, especially colostomies and cancer. So I think we need to do more than.
Yeah, thank you. So you already did 10 cases in the last 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
we're on schedule. Everything went well, alhamdulillah. All the people, did well with their surgeries, no complications. All of them have been discharged, and we're gonna enroll the next 10 cases. And the cost of the surgery for
Inshallah,
each
yes.
case, the cost is about $1,500 for each case. So please support us on this
Yeah.
project. We're helping people, as Dr. Abdul Wahab said, who need to be on the waiting list for at least a year to get their turn. And many of them, if you are a cancer patient or you have a cancer patient, 1 year is like a death sentence for these people. In 1 year, the cancer would have spread, would have caused more problems. And the people, whether in Gaza or Lebanon, they already have enough. They already malnourished. They're already suffering from immune system, from a lot of mental stress, and having a cancer go untreated and unchecked for a whole year is really a death sentence for most of these people. So please, anything you can support with this, any patient that we can save, any surgery that we can do, does save a life. It's not just a number, it's a human being, it's a full human life. They are fathers, they are mothers, they are, sons, daughters, grandmothers. Saving them $1,500 a surgery is not too much. And we're really thankful for our supporters, because without you, this work would not have been done. So every support is going to help us to do more, inshallah. تفضل يا دكتور عبد الوهاب.
Yes, as you said, we have a lot of cases. We will start, inshallah, after Eid with another 10 case. So we need the support for these cases. We have more than 100 case cancer waiting for referral outside Gaza, but all the crossing closed, so no one can travel outside Gaza. And we can't do all this surgery at the MOH hospitals. So we have a waiting list, large number of cases. Also, if we want to talk about colostomy, we have thousands of cases of colostomy, especially during the war, uh, especially women and young male. So we need for these cases to do is the cases at the private hospitals. We can't do all the cases at MOH hospital.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing this up. Regarding colostomies, I know many of you here in the healthcare know how challenging is it to take care of colostomies, even in the best case scenarios, even if you are in the Canada or US. So imagine that if you have a colostomy for a year or two and you are living in Gaza where there is no hygiene, no sanitation, no clean water,
Yeah.
and you're barely, finding enough food. So if we can just close the colostomy for one patient, do the surgery for them, put back the colon, so they don't need to take care of the colostomy, that does really make a huge impact in their life, and also save them from very high possibility of complication from the colostomy if it continued to be there. And also an update on the malnutrition and the starvation situation and the border crossing in
Yeah.
Gaza. Starvation is back in full force.
Back again, yeah.
Since the war started with Iran, all the crossings have been shut down completely. No one is allowed in, no one is allowed out. I want to mention our colleagues. We have 7 American physicians who have been in Gaza, and they are not allowed to leave Gaza. They have been postponed for the last 2 weeks. They did promise them that they hopefully will be able to leave on the 17th, the next 2 days. But again, it's very hard to trust these people. So please keep our colleagues, Dr. Ashraf, Dr. Khan, and Dr. Hazimi in your mind. We have 7 American doctors. Please keep them in your mind. If they're not evacuated the next 2 days, we have to push more on the campaign to get them out. The patients, while they did allow a few patients to leave, after the ceasefire, that has been stopped in the last few weeks since the war, and also the food, entry of food. It has been stopped. They are allowing just very few, and down from like 200 a day now. They are allowing maybe 10, 20 trucks, that is not enough at all. So all the markets in Gaza are empty now. People cannot find, the basics, the food. So we need to be aware of this and start the advocacy to allow all the borders to be opened and never leave the borders of the victims at the mercy of the perpetrator. This whole concept, this whole equation is wrong from day one. So please, please, we need your voice. Keep the campaigning, keep calling your politicians, keep calling your medical institutions. As Dr. Hatti mentioned, the AMA, your hospitals, no one should be silent about the forced starvation and man-made famine being imposed on the victims of genocide that have been enduring for years. Dr. Abdul Wahab, anyone has any questions for Dr. Abdul Wahab?
I have a question for Dr. Abdul Wahab. So, Dr. Abdul Wahab, it seems like most of the cases you are treating are cancer patients, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and obviously, what is the situation with cancer, chemotherapy treatment, radiotherapy? Once the surgery is done, what kind of treatment or follow-up do these patients get?
Yeah, according to radiotherapy, not available since before the war. At Gaza Strip, no radiotherapy. But chemotherapy, we have some drugs, not all drugs available, but we have some drugs.
Okay. And the oncology, so there is oncology follow-up.
Yeah,
Okay.
Which actually makes surgery even more important, more crucial,
Yeah.
because that's the
yeah,
only available option that you have. Again, it might not be curative, but it is at least something better than nothing.
Yeah.
yeah.
And for those who want to watch the surgeries, some of the surgeries that were done, actually, we have videos. Dr. Abdul Wahab, his team were gracious enough to give us videos of all of them. Some of them are available on our Instagram. You can watch that. One of the technicians in those videos, one of the technicians, Dr. Abdul Wahab, friend, was not putting his mask all the way. So be aware of this. He's working on it. He is reminding them to put it the right way.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. So thank you, Dr. Abdul Wahab. Thank you for all the work that you do. And
Thank
inshallah,
you.
looking forward to keep helping more people. Again, please help support that
Inshallah.
so we can do more surgeries. Dr. Abdul Wahab will be coming here every week or every other week to give us more updates on the cases that they do. And
Inshallah. Yeah.
yeah, and thank you for trying to for managing to fix the internet. So we're here. If you have any questions for us, any questions, Dr. Abdul Wahab, please pass it to us, and we will make sure he will get your questions. يعطيك العافية. كل عام وانتم بخير كمان. Eid is coming, so
وانت بخير، يعطيكم العافية.
inshallah next Eid will be with no genociders.
إن شاء الله. إن
A
شاء
world
الله.
free from genociders. Thank you.
إن شاء الله.
And
Thank
let's
you.
go. Yes, thank you. Let's go back to Annie. I'm sorry we interrupted your talk, Annie. So you wanna go back?
No, it was my fault there, my digital failure on my side. You received the slides, huh?
Yeah, we have them actually, and we can share them for you.
Yes, if you would put them up, I would
I can share
appreciate
them
it.
if
Do you want to
Mrs.
introduce
Shukran
yourself one more
Tarma.
time? You want to introduce yourself?
La, no, you over introduced me. I'm very embarrassed. That was
just say who you are. If people join later,
okay.
they don't know who you are.
The bio you read out was meant just for you. Basically, I'm an economist and I write a great deal. And what I want to do is sort of tie together.
Before you go, you said you are a Christian Palestinian.
Sah.
And
My family's originally from
Dr. Evelyn is a Christian Lebanese.
Yes, exactly. And
So
I lived
that's
in
good.
Beirut during the civil war of the 1970s.
We really
know
appreciate
that
our
situation.
Christian Palestinians, Lebanese, everywhere who are standing up for truth. So for those
Absolutely.
who fall for the propaganda brainwashing that it's Muslims, no, I mean we have
La.
great, great culture of having everyone included, everyone protecting each other and speaking the truth regardless of their religion or background. So thank you, Annie.
Well, to that point, let me actually just start with that. I spent the summers after living in Beirut during the Civil War, the summers with my grandparents in Jerusalem. And we are of the Anglican Church, which unfortunately brought you Zionism in the 1700s and 1800s. But they bring you many churches, many schools and hospitals. One of the Jerusalem Anglican Church hospitals is Al Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza, the first hospital in Gaza from 1887, I believe. My family has supported Al Ahli for 30 or 40 years, and I mean meaningfully supported as a beacon of humanity. And the mission is to serve every patient, regardless of religion, at no cost. So we always have stood together. We always will stand together. So that's just a little bit of the medical background. While I'm not a doctor, we know through Al Ahli, we have seen Gaza for decades and seen it pummeled and revive, pummel, revive, so on and so forth. So as an economist, one of the things we do is we're not the front lines, right? You never see an economist, you probably never met one. We're way behind. We look at the overarching structure. And what I would like to do is to bring you a point of view of kind of where Gaza stands in the medical field, even though I'm not a doctor, and what Doctors Against Genocide uniquely brings. But to do that, if you would put up the slides, we're going to start with the fact that, there we go. A few weeks ago, I met the dynamic duo themselves, although I've been on these calls for a year, at a big event at Princeton, organized by my cousin, Dr. Nader Shalhoub Kevorkian. And that is a parallel group, and it's important for you to know about this, called Al-Hadana, which means the incubator, the network, and it's of Palestinian scholars all over the world who are trying to hold the space like the doctors hold medically. They're trying to hold the space in universities. They're trying to teach, do the research, keep the narrative, from being eviscerated, but also build the narrative. We have to create the fact patterns of what happens and what is the truth. So they're a very, very important group, Al-Hadana. And we're on day 2, and it's unbelievably difficult to even listen to their presentations as we do here on DAG. And on day 2, who appears but the dynamic duo, and they sit right in front of me. Now, I have been on these calls for a year and studied at the hands of these 2 amazing doctors and all of your speakers. And I sent them a note saying, I'm right behind you, and I want to write a case that explains the medical distinction of Gaza, its excellence, and then also DAG. So in between seeing them 3 weeks ago, I have written a short case, and I want to show it to you, because while medicine is on the front lines, we have to also look, ahead and above. That's the last slide, if you can go all the way
Yeah,
back.
it goes very fast.
Okay, next slide. Let's see.
Ooh,
Well, this will be, there
this
it
one?
is, there it is.
Yes,
Yes,
okay.
okay. So for my mind, if we're going to make the case of Gaza and medicine, and boy, the 2 doctors, this perfectly follows what you said. This is not me, this is you. I'm trying to summarize Gaza's distinctiveness, its excellence. So what Gaza demonstrates is the most effective emergency medical response in modern history. We must play to our strengths. We must always speak to our excellence. And Palestine, as one of you said, will be free, but we have to be free from ourselves. We have to promote and talk about our excellence. And when I say emergency medical, it's trauma, it's everything that we've talked about. This is just my own language. And the importance, as you every week have said, we must shift from sympathy. Yes, of course, we are deserving of sympathy, but what we want is solidarity, because we are strong. We're great doctors, we're great scholars, we're great students, we're great theologians, we're great in this way. So we must have a vector, and the book that you're going to be working on is very much in this theme, that comes to grips and solidly creates the fact pattern. And the example of Lebanon was just startling, that many places in the world will need right now the most effective emergency medical response in modern history. And this is sort of the symbolism of the solidarity we're looking for. The next slide, please. I'll just do a few. Okay. So you take that, and there are only 3 slides to make the case. The paradox, well, the paradox that breaks all of our hearts is that the aid model, as huge and seismic as it is, when the aid model arrives with all of its trucks and medicines and tents and surgical equipment and so forth, is not only the scale model, but it gets trapped all the time, right? It is a permission-based model, and we in Gaza have lived this, that the aid model, the paradox of aid, is that yes, it offers so much at such vast scale, but it is permission-based. And so we in Gaza have particularly seen that model, which everybody reflexively goes to, we must get more aid, we must get more aid. And yes, we must get more aid. That is a trapped model. Now, what is the strength of Gaza? And you can read this for yourself, obviously, but it's an adaptive community-based emergency model. And what underpins that strength? It's locally rooted, right? It doesn't get trapped at the perimeter. It comes from the people and the place and the innovation of Gaza itself. It's emergency medical medicine excellence, which again is just the gap that we were just hearing about from Dr. Evelyn in Lebanon. And it's highly trusted. These are people you've grown up with, you've seen, they're your uncles, your aunts, your cousins. And it literally, we've seen it physically move with the people. They have to go from Gaza City south, they move. They go back up, they move. It's a mobile system. And so this is, as I would like to propose, that there be a case, a public, that it be taught in schools of public health and beyond, a case about the sort of strength of the Gaza medical model. And of course, you will teach, hopefully, some of this in your specialties in medicine, but I think there's a larger aperture to really convey this. And again, in the basis of strength and solidarity. In the next slide, please. So where does DAG fit in this? Now go down. Uniquely, DAG has a mechanism which few have. Again, we're talking about permission-based, border-controlled issues. DAG can get the resources directly into Gaza. And this is a very unique point about Gaza. And because of its medical network, again, that trusted bottom-up network, it's able to identify the gaps immediately and nearly immediately fill them. We just heard about, 10 surgery patients this week, 10 next week. We've heard about one of the ones that moved me very greatly was about 6 or 9 months ago, where the doctors, in fact, the sons and daughters of the doctors said we need to be serving the disabled and the elderly who are trapped in their tents. They can't go walk to the 4 different so-called food sites. And DAG said immediately, let's hop on that. Let's make sure if they're disabled and elderly that we bring the food to them. So that's what I mean by identifying gaps and immediately filling them. This is the unique channel that DAG offers. So to summarize the case that I think should be written and taught everywhere is that it's aid to a people, essential, important, must have, but it again is very limited sometimes. And in a war case in particular, as opposed to a tsunami or something, the opposing force is always going to try to contain the border or the permission. We are uniquely, and this is our great pride, and this is our strength, and this is our honor, it is aid from the people. It's not just the doctors. It's the people who run into the rubble and carry those people kilometers on stretchers or anything they can find. It's aid from the people. And I think this is an opportunity to really speak to Palestine's strength, its innovation, its capacity, and its excellence over time. So I would propose, if DAG would allow me to kind of follow on with you and help write some of this case, obviously the medical part informed entirely by you. Now, I believe in strength, and that message of our heroes, you are our heroes, must be shown. So the book I want to tell you about is another facet of Palestine's strength. And this is the football strength of Palestine. Now, football is the game of the world. It is the person's game. It's everywhere. Soccer in America, of course, but football for the rest of the world. It is an identity. Our heroes in Palestine and all of the Middle East and Africa, many of them come from football. So I want to tell you this true story, which is a book we have just released that I've written with Muhammad, who is the Ronaldo of Gaza, Ronaldo being the iconic figure of football. He is the Ronaldo of Gaza. They call him the Ronaldo of Gaza. In 2017, he was given the great honor as the most valuable football player of Palestine. While I could go to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, while I have been all over the West Bank, the Ronaldo of Gaza, Muhammad, was allowed once out of Gaza to play for the Palestine national team for a training event in the West Bank. He has seen the West Bank for 12 hours. He has never been to Jerusalem. They can't, even these heroes cannot move. So the book is the following story also, and you can see the title, Daring to Hope. It is like you, the courage to stand with your people when others would crumple and fall. And it is a story of witness from Gaza. So I wrote about football in an article called Kickoff for Freedom, because the Palestine national team are our ambassadors worldwide. They play in many countries, and when they take the field, 30, 40,000 people erupt in support for them. You've never seen anything like it. If you go to football all over the world, from Morocco to Japan to everywhere, the flags are for Palestine. It is one of our greatest stages, more than the UN, more than anywhere. We have been centered in the stage of football in the world. So I wanted to write more about it. And when I went to one of the Palestine games in Doha, I noticed that one of the major, the Ronaldo of Gaza was missing. And I asked the team, where is Muhammad? And they said, and he had played all over the Middle East. He's played in Egypt and in a number of countries for top teams. They said he came back to Gaza about a year before to get married. And he missed his family so much that even though he was one of the top players, he wanted to play for one of the 12 teams of Gaza. So he comes back and he gets trapped. So what the story is about him, and the story is about us, because I have to find him. I decide the thing I can do is to keep at least one hero alive. And he means so much to so many that if I could find him, and if I could support him, and if I could get him out to not, so that he's not taken prisoner or so forth, and he could stand again for Gaza on one of the biggest stages of the world, which is again football, maybe I could have done something that was worthy of, what the Gazans have done for us. So this is one of the greatest comeback stories in sports, and we know sports appeals to many. So I'm doing that very intentionally. I'm trying to appeal to as many people who don't know Gaza, don't know anything, but maybe they will go through the Gaza window or through the sports window. It's the comeback story from tent to stadium, and it's one of the greatest comeback stories in modern sports. The next slide. So we start with that, but what this really is about is daring to hope. Go back up one. It really is a story that reveals what no bombs could erase, as it says, Gaza's resilience, brilliance, and unbreakable humanity. And the first 7 months are Muhammad trying to protect his family of 15 as they move from Gaza City south. It's not a cruel story. It's not a bleak story. It's a story really of love as he supports grandparents who are in wheelchairs and elderly, and he's known. So you see also his interaction. And it's one of the first ground views where you get to really see what it is like to move day in and day out. But again, it's not gory. And his father works for one of the major hospitals in the north, Al Nasser Hospital for Children. So you see the narrative through him as he is forced to leave his patients, forced to walk south, forced to find Muhammad and his wife and children and so forth. And then it is a heroic, escape. I mean, he was known and they were looking for athletes. So what he and I have to cook up to get him out of there is a story in itself. It's a story about a Muslim man, a Christian woman, me who's had all the privilege of going to Al-Aqsa whenever I feel like it, him who has never been allowed to set foot there. It's the story of him coming out injured, much thinner, and against all the odds, retraining and making it back to the professional league where he plays in Doha now, and making it back to the Palestine national team. So he's the only player on the Palestine national team. There are Gazans, but he's the only one who came out of the genocide. And just the last slide, please, if you'll allow me. We have released this book. We're not trying to make money. It's our duty. It's our gift. It's our honor. And so every chapter we write and release it every Friday on Substack. And if you just go on Substack and search Gaza Ronaldo, and if you would read it, we would be so deeply honored to have you on this journey. Chapter 1, please start there. And it's chapter 10 right now. And this is meant not, again, to say medicine isn't important. It's to reflect the courage that you have given me through the year to say, no, I can do more and I can do better. And this story was never started as a story. It's 2,000, 3,000, I don't know, text messages between Muhammad and me for 2 years. And he is a lawyer as well. And he is an unbelievable writer. And about 6 months ago, I said to him, this is a story that needs to be told, but you are a beautiful writer and you have to write so that if you don't play soccer again, we didn't know if you would ever make it back to the field, your voice your incredible ability to write is what carries you through. His wife went on she couldn't leave. They trapped her. He has a child who he may never see, a beautiful boy called Hamza, which I think is very evocative. If in this situation you name your child Hamza. And this is also a book to Hamza, who may never see his father. So it's very moving. I hope you will follow us. It's free. It's our goal is simply to open dialogue between all faiths, all parts of the world, and tell a story through an iconic figure. So again, I want to thank you for the year where you have taught me so much. I hope the case is helpful, and I can do anything you need on that. I hope the story is helpful, and you'll see chapter 6 is taken at Al Nasser Children's Hospital before it was forcibly evacuated. Thank you.
This is very powerful, and you know, it's really our honor to have you as a fellow Palestinian working on this together. Make us proud and make us, you know, celebrate our heroes, just like we celebrate our medical heroes, Dr. Ahmed Al-Farra, Iyad, Dr. Saqr, Dr. Bursh, Azzuddin, Lulu, who became a doctor during the genocide, and many, many more. It's also wonderful to celebrate a football player who is, you know, who's representing Palestine all over the world. It's great. Thank you. And yes, for the case study.
Can you
Absolutely.
stop sharing, Karama, so we can see her and see each
Oh,
other?
yes, sorry. Yes, طبعا.
We have an ask for you, Annie, now. We want you to bring Muhammad on the webinar whenever you can, please. We want to
Well,
know.
he wanted
Got
to
us
be on the
excited.
webinar, but because it's Ramadan and he's in Doha, they train at night.
Oh,
So
yeah. No,
but
we'll do it
just that you
after Ramadan.
asked,
Yes.
just that you asked, he will be very honored that, you know, you've thought of him. So
We
thank you
would
for
love,
the ask.
we would love to have you and him back again next week. I mean, we wanna also uplift the inspiring stories too. And this is people who are fighting for their existence, for their life. And each and every single story of any Palestinian, whether in Gaza, in Palestine, or even outside, or any other marginal community, is a testament of the insistence of the human beings on their right to live, the right to be safe, right to exist, the right to be recognized as whole. Um, so, I mean, Muhammad is just another inspiring story. Thank you, Annie, for all what you did. Thank you for your reflections on our work. And I never thought
Well,
we will have a lesson to teach economists, but I'm glad we did. We didn't know. I think, honestly, we have no clue what we were doing. We have no experience on this. The only thing, actually, this is actually another lesson that I think everyone needs to know. All what you need is you need to have your heart in the right place. Execution always for there is always a way. You will always find a way to do what is right if you have it there in the right place. And we have Dr. Habib Rahman. Alhamdulillah as-salami, Dr. Habib. Thank you. And Alhamdulillah as-salami, you made it back to UK. It's good to have you, to hear from you. Tfaddal.
Walaikum salam. Well, yeah, good to be part of another DAG stream, and extremely helpful actually to hear Annie's commentary there. I was particularly interested in the history of the Anglican Church in Palestine. I suppose in North America, would the equivalent be Episcopalian, or do you call it Anglican there
yes,
as well?
it's the Episcopal Church in the US. And much as I revere the Anglican Church and what it has done, so many schools in Palestine, so many hospitals, they also brought you Zionism in the 1700s. And the Balfour Declaration is, I wouldn't say it didn't come from the Anglican Church, but it is enough said.
Before I forget, we need another presentation about that history, please, and your family and stuff, please. Yeah, so you're gonna be a regular, panelist this team too. Tfaddal, Dr. Habib.
Well, that was pretty much it. But I was hoping you could comment on I mean, has the Episcopalian Church spoken out against the state of Israel?
So yes, absolutely, especially in relation to, for example, Al-Ahli. They are very active and devoted and worldwide making this case. As you said, I thought the medical neutrality is a very important point we have to bring into the public health case, by the way. The medical neutrality is a central theme that I think the Anglican Church is talking about. And I think no, absolutely they have. And all the faith communities, actually the Christian faith communities, of which there are Orthodox and all of this, have come together in Jerusalem. They are pounding the message as much as they possibly can. And, speaking, the Catholics are speaking to the Pope, and you can see what the past Pope and current Pope have been doing. So yes, they have been. We have to give them a lot of credit for that. And by the way, our book, which is called Daring to Hope, is, it's that whole notion of Palestinians, we will never be erased from our soul level of hope. This is who we are. But it's called Witness from Gaza because the Christian message of witness is you never leave somebody behind, especially when they're old, disabled. It is our duty of witness. So it's Daring to Hope is Muhammad, and Witness from Gaza is the faith that we share together. But I think you can rest assured that the Anglican Church is working very hard.
So Palestine is the birthplace of Christianity?
Of course, when people say to me, how did you become a Christian? I just look at them and say, my great, 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 great grandfather played with this kid from Nazareth. I think his name was Jesus.
So it's not just it's just for the Zionists. Yeah, just give it to them and that's it, Yeah, exactly. Amir Zahar used to also make a joke like, when you are in Jerusalem and you go to a falafel shop, you can tell people, oh, Jesus bought falafel from this place like 2,000 years ago. Yeah. Thank you, Annie. And yes, we really need to hear more from you. We want to meet Muhammad, if you don't mind, next week or the week after, whenever you have the opportunity. And we need to also learn more about the history, your family, about the Christian, history in Palestine, these different dominations. So it's always a good learning experience to hear it from people who have first-hand account of what's happening. Dr. Rahman, are you still there? Dr. Rahman?
Oh, yes. Hi, sorry.
So Dr. Rahman actually was on a medical mission to Gaza. He was there like a month ago, and alhamdulillah salam, he made it. He's back in UK. Some of your colleagues, Dr. Habib, are in Gaza now, who went there on medical missions, are still trapped there. They're not, or they're denied exit. A few of them actually are regular doctors who come on this panel, including Dr. Khan, Dr. Abul Aziz. So what do you have any reflections on this? Do you have any message you want to send? I mean, the doctors, they sacrifice everything. They sacrifice their time, their safety, their family time, their work time to be able to go there and provide for the communities, only to be put at the mercy of these genocidal forces. What reflections do you have on this?
Well, my memories, of course, loom large because they're still quite recent, but also, and I think this is true for perhaps all doctors who go to Gaza, that's where you see true medicine being practiced. That's where you see people putting everything before, putting their patients before everything, and that's where you see true medical ethics, not this subverted Western conception of medical ethics where, I would argue that the medical profession and the way it's practiced in the West is it's a rather captured institution. We have our interests subverted by our employers, healthcare providers, which are often privatized, not working in the interests of patients, often working in the interests of the biotechnology industry. And actually, if you were to remove those two core interests, I think you'd find that the way that medicine is practiced in the West is actually pretty empty. So, yeah, I think that they are truly heroic people. I remember daily And I correspond daily with my colleagues from in at Nasser Hospital in particular, which is where I spent most of my time. And it's very difficult. You know, that there are non-doctors there as well who attract, you know, delegates who came from internationally. And it again shows the bankruptcy of our governments, because there is literally nothing that they will that they will stand up for when the interests of the US and Israel are put before them.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Habib. So please don't forget our colleagues. We need to raise more awareness about their situation and make sure that they are allowed to leave and go back to their families, to their homes, safe and dignified. Again, 7 of those doctors are American doctors, and I'm sure there are doctors from other nationalities, but regardless of who they are, what their nationality is, every human being have the right to life, to safety, to life, to freedom of movement, despite Israel, despite Trump, despite the USA, and all these convoluted things they are trying to impose on humanity is something that we completely reject. They should not be in charge, none of them. They should be locked up, they should be at The Hague, should be in courts. These are war criminals, these are genociders, these are pedophiles, these are enemies to humanity. So thank you, Dr. Habib. And another inspiring Palestinian story, we have Ahmed Bsais. He is a Palestinian American student from Nablus in the West Bank. I'm getting a little bit, Nablus, it seems, dominates the contribution of the Palestinians in the West Bank. So many people from Nablus, mashallah, very well accomplished. So Dr. Ahmed, Mr. Ahmed, a student, he's a law student at the University of Michigan, and he's been working on the concept of femicide as part of the whole genocidal process, and also on trying to provide legal analysis on how femicide should also be considered as a crime on its own, beyond that being, part of the genocide. I did not read the whole analysis. That's why we invited Ahmed to speak more about this. So Ahmed, ahla wa sahla. Sharafna, and he's my neighbor here. We are Michiganders, so we have Canadians, we have American, we have people in Michigan. Tfadal, Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for having me, and thank you for letting me talk about the topic. So I was researching femicide, I think because I was in the case of Gaza, and as we all know, it being so widely streamed, I think I had never seen a case in which women and children were so greatly targeted. Every video we were seeing on social media were mothers screaming for their children, or children finding the remains of their parents. So I wanted to look more into what were like the prosecutable methods in which we could attack both like the Israeli government and then the Israeli state as a whole for their crimes against humanity. And unfortunately, femicide isn't a prosecutable standalone crime in the international legal framework. It mostly operates just as like evidence of another crime. However, when we look to like cases like of genocide, past cases of genocide like Yugoslavia, Bosnia, Rwanda, femicide and the deliberate targeting of women and children weren't necessarily considered the most hooks of like the genocide prongs that they were trying to prosecute. They just ended up getting thrown into the deliberation or discussion, and primarily as it related to like sexual crimes, especially Rwanda, were crimes of like rape or sexual aggression, which prevented births as women suffered from psychological, abuse and torture, following that violence. So looking to Gaza, because there was so much evidence, especially at the start of the genocide, the last couple of months as Israel has tightened their siege and has started constricting and choking Gaza even further, a lot of this evidence has it's not as up to date as it should be. So the latest figures I had found were that over 30,000 Palestinian women had been targeted, and these are the conservative figures. These aren't using like the Lancet extrapolated numbers. This is just like the official out of like the 78,000 that Israel had agreed to in like the official ministry numbers. So over 30,000 women, over 12,000 children were murdered. It comes out to approximately 37 mothers a day. There's been over a 300% increase in miscarriages. And the end result of that is thousands of children that have become amputated, over 40,000 households that are now woman-headed households, almost 10,000 women that have become widows. And why this is important and these statistics are important uh, is because it shows that the destruction of women's healthcare infrastructure creates conditions that are calculated to bring about the physical destruction of the Palestinian people as a whole. The killing of women of reproductive age specifically is a strategy meant to prevent the Palestinian births, because if women are not here, if you're killing women, there's nobody to continue the continuity of a people socially, culturally, and biologically. And then, of course, the rhetoric of like the Israeli officials expresses like a clear intent to destroy, the Palestinians' capacity for generational continuity, and also a specific intent to target women and children. Prime ministers, since their inception, have talked about that Palestinian children are evil, that they get it from their mothers. There was one PM, and I'm paraphrasing, that says that they suck the evil from their mother's like teat. So like this is a expressed genocidal rhetoric. Going back to 1948 and obviously since 2023 has tenfold, both in like their audacity to say it out loud, and then the clear express acting on that intent. Just some other figures. Over 70% of those killed in Gaza have been women and children, as compared to before 2023, the comparable figure was about 14%, looking at like the 2021 bombardment and the 2014 bombardment. So obviously there's a clear mismatch in who they're attacking. And when they had the first ceasefire, which was actually a year ago at this time, ceasefire, yeah. So it was like actually during Ramadan of March 2025, when they had broken that ceasefire, the UN had documented, I think it was 29 out of 36 attacks were specifically only on women and children in their residential homes. So just looking at their actions, besides whatever the stated intent is, it's clear that women are like the primary victims of women and children are the primary victims of Israel's genocide. I can talk a little bit about like some of like the case law or just the general binding statutes of international law, just for general education purpose. Of course, like there's the Genocide Convention in 1948 after World War II, that's broken into 5 prongs, all of which have been broken in the case of Gaza. And what I offer is that femicide, one, fulfills each prong separately, but two, it also stands alone as its own crime that should be prosecuted. Again, it goes to also the Geneva Conventions of 1949, specifically Articles 16, 17, 18, 23, and 55, all of which are about not targeting the sick or wounded, and occupying power to ensure medical supplies and aid, prohibition on attacks against civilians, and safety for pregnant women. Just more facts and figures. Israel destroyed the only hospital that housed embryos, about 4,000 embryos, in Gaza, alongside their destruction of maternal health facilities and every other clinic and hospital in Gaza. That's just adding to their crimes. There's also the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, and the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Israel is signatory to pretty much every treaty that protects the sanctity of life. And then as applied to Palestinians, obviously they don't see Palestinians as human, so it doesn't apply in their mind to upholding these rights as applied to Palestinians. And this also goes to Israel's own like nation state laws and their own jurisprudence. Like the Israeli judiciary explicitly has said that there's 2 sets of laws, for their Israeli Jewish inhabitants and then the Palestinians. There's more discourse. I can send another article actually about this and their court systems that don't explicitly recognize Palestinians like on the same level of human dignity and life as the Israeli population, and that's some explanation as perhaps why they don't feel they have to uphold, um, these internationally recognized rights. Um, as I mentioned, Rwanda and Yugoslavia were some of like the most prosecuted cases, like in the international genocide framework, the ICTY and the ICTR. But in neither case did they talk about the specific killing of women and children. Those just happened to be folded into it, and they were primarily uh, focused on like the sexual crimes. And even in those cases, Gaza stands independently or is differentiated from these cases because in Rwanda and Yugoslavia, men were killed respectively like 80% to 20%, whereas in Gaza it's the opposite. And even during the Holocaust, I think women and children was more of a 50-50 split. Again, so in Gaza, we're seeing it's a much higher targeting of women and children than any other documented genocide. Uh, and that's why femicide should stand alone as a separate prosecutable crime because it is a way, to determine our collective capacity to prevent genocide in all of its modern manifestations. This is a new way that genocide is being carried out. And then what I go on to argue is one, first and foremost, and I think with any type of scholarship or advocacy on behalf of Palestine, the root problem is Israel's colonial violence and genocide, which should be stopped militarily by any means necessary, which is mandated by law and calls on a responsibility to protect by every third member state that's party to the UN. So first and foremost, and I think with any discussion on Gaza, the first thing that needs to be said is that there should be immediate military intervention to stop the killing and starvation. And then secondly, expanding the legal frameworks and recognizing reproductive violence separately as genocidal acts, and then creating this precedent with Israel, both in the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice, to create some sort of restitution or reparations going back even to the right of return and the Palestinians being able to implement and recognize our right of self-determination, which goes to, again, this cultural continuity which comes from our Palestinian women. I can take some questions if anybody has
Thank
any.
you. Thank you, Ahmed. Wow, this is impressive. What year are you at the
My third, alhamdulillah, I graduate in a month and a half.
month and a half. You finished the law school in 3 years?
Yeah,
MashaAllah, even during the genocide.
didn't do so good in school, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
And you did all this work also on the side. Wow, that's very, very impressive.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, any questions for Ahmed? Maisa, Yiping?
Well, this was very powerful, and I completely agree with you that femicide, for some reason, like women and children come last in international law, and
Even though they're the first in the media, right? So
no,
it's
they're the first, to be the victims, and they're the most impacted. Why do you think that is? Like, what is it about international law or law in general that makes it so?
well, I think especially as it relates to genocide, we haven't seen like a case so clear as Gaza. As I mentioned, like the only like prosecuted ones to this extent were Rwanda and Yugoslavia. And in the Holocaust, none of them saw like comparable methodology, intent, or like statistically like the rate that we're seeing in Gaza. So one, I think it's like just a new framework. Obviously, the killing of women and children happens all the time. So I'm sure there's some gendered bias, and obviously the international frameworks were established by colonial nations. So there's misogyny and capitalism and Eurocentrism everywhere in like the international frameworks generally, right? I think the first 11 crimes prosecuted at the ICJ were against African leaders. And this was after they were set up. So like after the Holocaust, before European nations, it was African leaders that were being prosecuted. So I think it's just all of those things together.
And when there was any chance or any demand to prosecute white leaders like Netanyahu, Israelis, Americans, they want to get away with the whole ICC and ICJ now. Yeah, we don't need them. This is just for the people of color. Yeah, Yiping?
Yeah, I just wanted to say like how important this work is. Thank you, Ahmed. I was reflecting on Mesa. You might remember too, like we were meeting with the United Nations Commission of Inquiry staff and employees, and the documentation and evidence around the targeting of the IVF center was
Yeah.
a major component of their like legal argument. And so and you don't have to answer here, but I'm just kind of curious if you're connected already with them, because I imagine your work, I think, feeds really well into that kind of like for what it's worth, of trying to hold Israel accountable through those international legal mechanisms at the ICJ.
I'm not connected with them, but I did read the report, like to get some, like that's where I got some of my statistical information. But even in their like their framing of it, um, like femicide again wasn't like part of like or it wasn't like a standalone feature of the crime. Like IVF was the targeting of the IVF was part of measures intended to prevent births, whereas femicide as a whole is a measure to end the group as a people, not just like an element or prong of genocide. But yeah, it was in a the report was really, I think, got to the crux of the problem that Israel is committing genocide.
Okay. Maybe if it's helpful, I think we can share our contacts with you, because I think the work that you're doing around the legal landscape, I think should be shared widely and should be part
I
of those
appreciate it.
kinds of proceedings.
Yeah, I think I can PM you my
Yeah,
email on here.
inshallah.
Thank you.
Dr. Khan? Dr. Rahman, sorry. Dr. Rahman?
Oh yes, thank you so much, Ahmed. It's very stimulating, and it got me thinking. There is a UN declaration on the
Mhm.
protection of children, but that has failed to protect children. So, I mean, it's placing extra faith in the system of international law to then advocate for another definition here to say that the rights of women need to be protected as a special category. And I wondered what your comments are on that.
Yeah, and I think that's something I grappled with. Like I came into law school and my first year was October 7th was a month into it and I'm like, oh, should have went to med school. I could have helped people in a more material way because I think the biggest problem with the law is that it's very retroactive. It's mostly a system to like set up restitution or it protects rights after the people have already died. So I agree. Like that is like the biggest critique, especially of international law, because it relies so heavily on a third party state's ability to intercede or to act on behalf of. And when the global superpowers are the people committing genocide, nobody's going to go against these powers. So the law, and this point, as in like with Myanmar or East Timor, especially with East Timor, it set just like a record, like a historical archive of it that the East Timorians were able to go back on and get those rights restored like after the fact. So a lot of it is just delayed, sadly, like a delayed response. But the hope is that one day when Palestine is free, this archive is here for us just to have the historical record of the crimes committed, and then to uh, you know get the restitution. And I don't know, in this way, there's no way to bring back a life, but at least to do dignity for the people that were martyred.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Annie, you have a question too?
Actually, I wanted to reinforce your excellent work. When I met, you saw the picture of us initially 3 weeks ago at the Al-Hadana conference at Princeton. There are a lot of lawyers there, and what we discuss a lot is femicide there from a legal perspective. And as you said, it has really been brought to the fore in Palestine. My cousin Nader Shalhoub-Kevorkian, who is the organizer of all this, is one of the most famous feminist scholars of Palestine, and she's a lawyer. And I want to add two words that she has introduced to the legal and social discourse around this. She's very good at distilling the universe of complexity. Anyhow, unchilding.
Mhm.
Unchilding legally effectively means that all Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza are under martial law. There is no designation of a child, right? You can take them to jail. That's 6, that's 60, whatever. So
Fair enough.
unchilding, I think, is a really important one. And then very much in what we've been talking about on the legal side, this another word she's introducing. So you have these long papers and presentations, but unchilding is so powerful. If you need to explain to people the apartheid that is live under, use the concept of unchilding. It's very powerful. The other is overkill. The enablement under martial law and all these other forms of overkill. So I would love to put her and you in touch with each other, and the whole Al-Hadana, which Doctors Against Genocide came to a few weeks ago.
Amazing.
And thank you for your great work.
Appreciate it. And on the unchilding, it's like a fact that's been here for a while, but obviously in the West Bank, Palestinian children are the only children in the world to be prosecuted into military detention arbitrarily. 99% were prosecuted, and none of them were afforded a right to counsel. Again, Israel signatory to like every convention that prevents this. But in the case of Palestine, there's the Palestine exception. So that's unfortunately where we're at.
Yes, that's what impunity for genociders lead us to.
Yeah.
That they can do whatever they want. They can break all laws, even their own laws. But because they have never been held accountable, they feel emboldened that they can do. I mean, they can do whatever they want, and no one will go after them. Unfortunately, the whole world actually just grew a monster, a cancer in that region, and I think every single human being in the world is going to be hurt by the monster that we grew, the unhinged monster, the enemy of humanity, and the biggest cause of instability in the world. And I mean, they say it themselves, them and their supporters, they want Armageddon. They want, the whole world to go in flames. They don't care as long as it can fulfill some false prophecy here, criminal prophecy there. That's fine. They don't care about humanity. Hadija, you have questions?
Yes, hi. My name is Hadija, and I am an activist with the Free Congo movement. I just wanted to thank Ahmad so much for working so diligently on this framework that protects women and children. And, this femicide is really an extremely understudied and under-theorized area in the context of genocide. And with the genocide in Congo that has been going on for the last 30 years, Ahmad talked about Rwanda, and the conflict has been between Rwanda and Congo. But Rwanda is the party that has been able to sort of be studied more. But in Congo, in the eastern part of Congo, we have these rape, especially sexual violence, being used as a weapon of war, and the targeting of women of reproductive age. And so the work that Ahmad is doing is so extremely important, and it's such an inspiration for prospective human rights lawyers like myself, people who are working in these spaces and these activism spaces, so that we have recourse, so that we have legal recourse, so that we have something to look at. And it just speaks to the excellence of the Palestinian struggle as in general. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for that work.
I really appreciate that. Let me just add also on Rwanda, and as you mentioned, like rape is a method of war, but even the courts in these cases didn't say that it was constituting part of the intent of genocide. They just said it was a crime that was happening. It just so happens that it was preventing births because, understandingly, people went through like a psychological trauma and violence. But still, like the UN frameworks and the international frameworks go so far, but not to include it as a genocidal act, unfortunately.
Thank you, Ahmad. We want to hear more from you. You're bringing so much powerful points, important points that, as you said, even the international community, international legal system has been trying to, throw under the rug for a long time, and it's time to fix all these wrongs. So thank you. What you're bringing is important, and we want to hear more from you and learn more from you.
Inshallah,
That's the good thing about DAG. I mean, we all learn from each other. There is no seniors, there is no juniors. Everyone is bringing something. So we are really ready to hear more from you, learn from you, and maybe we're gonna get you some of these groups as Dr. Yiping and Hadija and Annie suggested, so we can uplift this work.
Appreciate it.
Any
Thank you,
other
everybody.
questions? So stay strong and inshallah, congratulations. Inshallah, you'll graduate soon and you'll go after them officially with the law degree, yeah?
Inshallah, yeah, that's the goal.
يعطيك العافية. Did you come to our iftar, by the way? You said you want to come, but I think I don't know if
No,
you
I ended up going home. So
Oh, okay. يلا
take a
يعطيك
flight.
العافية. Okay, يلا next time.
Inshallah, yeah.
Where did Khadija disappear? Khadija? Hello?
Yes, still here.
Yeah, it was your turn. So I mean, I was
Oh,
glad that you are the one who asked those questions. So now it's our turn to hear from our colleagues in Congo about their amazing work there and also get updates from what's happening on the ground. We have Khadija and we have Elvis. So all yours, Khadija. And I know, sorry, we missed you last couple of times because of the time limits, but I'm glad you are here now.
it's always a pleasure to listen in and to learn. It's so inspirational hearing from all of the speakers. So my name is Hadija, and I'm an activist with the Free Congo movement. I'm representing our volunteer youth organization based in the city of Goma in Eastern Congo. So, like I said, when I asked Ahmad, when I thanked Ahmad for his legal work around this issue of femicide, the genocide in Congo is basically an extension of imperialism and racialized hypercapitalism. Congo is targeted by these forces that seek to just suffocate the lives of the people here. It's targeted because of its natural mineral wealth. So Congo is rich in minerals like coltan and cobalt and tantalum and tin and all of these rare earth metals that multinational corporations must have, especially with this arms race to out AI each other. You know, who is going to produce the most state-of-the-art AI technology, state-of-the-art iPhones or, you know, computers. So all of these things, all of these products, basically, they don't, you know, come out of thin air. There are components that go into the production of these things, and these components are costing ineffable human suffering in the Congo. So these minerals are going into these technologies and into even things like pacemakers. You know, copper from Congo is used to light the world. And if you go back in history, the Congolese people have always borne the brunt. They have always suffered for the sake of technological advancements of all sorts of cars. In the 19th century, with the Belgian king being there and amputating people because they could not collect rubber fast enough. So it's been a long history of exploitation that the Congolese people have faced for the sake of advancement, technological industrial advancement of the world, and for the sake of upholding racialized hypercapitalism, which is what empires like the United States run on. So recently, the United States had a Minerals for Peace agreement, a deal that they signed with the government of the DRC. And of course, the local communities, the affected communities, were nowhere to be found as these elites are signing these peace deals. Ceasefire agreements continue to be not, it's not as though they don't exist, ceasefire, as we always say. So the local communities have continued to suffer. The numbers of the internally displaced continue to rise. Nearly 200,000 people have had to leave their homes just recently. And this is a war that's been going on, a genocide that has been going on for decades, for 3 decades now. It started with the Second Congo War in 1996. So what DAG has come through to support us in reaching the people, in providing material resources for the people. And another speaker talked about this aid model that is usually the default of just, you know, sending aid somewhere without any real human connection to the people. That's not what DAG does. DAG has really been just such a tremendous support for us. We have been, we receive a grant, and with that grant, we've been able to curb malnutrition for children. We set up tents where we take our mobile clinics into the rural communities of Eastern Congo. People who have not seen a doctor or any kind of healthcare professional for years are able to be looked after. Our elderly people are able to be looked after. Children's wounds are able to be dressed. We're able to provide pain relief medication. Some vaccinations that are vaccines that are available are also administered by our volunteer team of healthcare professionals there. So we are so eternally grateful to DAG for this. Right now, our most recent campaign is to provide clean drinking water to a community here. We were able to go to, we visited an orphanage in Goma, the city of Goma. And, clean drinking water is something that with the genocide that is going on, the administrative systems there have completely collapsed. People have been left to their own devices. Nothing functions. So this grant that we've been lucky, we've been blessed to have from DAG goes into the monetary exchanges of getting water so that children can have some sustenance, so that we don't have an outbreak of things like cholera, an outbreak of so many other diseases that things that fester because of the lack of just sanitation in basic sanitation. So we're so grateful, and my colleague Elvis will speak more on the incredible work that the DAG has been doing in support of our communities in Congo. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Hadija, for offering us the opportunity to be in solidarity with the people of Congo. It's our honor and privilege.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and a big hello from our entire team. And yeah, we continue to be in solidarity with each other. We appreciate it.
Elvis?
Great. Greetings to everyone from the town of Goma, to everyone on the panel, every member of the DAG family, the DAG community, and every supporter of this DAG movement, as I do call it. Without you, as my sister Hadija has mentioned, there is not much that we could be able to do, especially with the model that the international organization and other aid workers do their business on the ground. With the DAG support, we are able to reach the people, and the people who are really in need. I will start my presentation first with an apology. Last week I couldn't make it because we were still mourning and coming back from a funeral. We have lost 2 babies from our home, and those babies are the babies that we have been looking after, and they are mothers. Their mothers their mothers are survivors of violence. The mothers were all raped, and then they end up pregnant, and we were looking after the children, and 2 of them who needed surgery. They went through surgery with the support of DAG, with the grant that we received and other friends. We managed to get through them the surgery, but they didn't make it. So last week we could not be with you because of that. And this week, for the last 2 weeks, we have been planning to do a live stream from one of the hospitals that we do visit. As you know, we spend most of the time around the town of Goma looking for the displaced people, because we still have a lot of displaced families living in town of Goma and in the surrounding of and the outskirts of the town. And we do go to those hospitals and see if we can help those families in need. It could be providing a meal or paying for hospital bills or anything that they may need, because the majority of the people that we meet, they will be in hospital for months and they don't have anyone to support them. They don't get any treatment because hospital cannot treat them because they are lacking of the supply. So for a reason, I'm sure a few of you, if you did watch the news coming from the eastern part of Congo, 4 days ago, they were bombing in the heart of the town in Goma, drone bombing that killed one UNICEF worker and 2 other people. For that reason, I was told earlier on today I cannot stay in the hospital past 6 p.m. As you know, probably it is 8:30 in Goma right now, and I was asked to leave the hospital by 6. So there is no way we could share with you the few stories that we are meeting and the people that we are supporting. That was the very first reason why we could not stream from there. In terms of the activities that we are doing and we continue doing with the support of that is providing healthcare, food, and other basic needs to the young girls who are victims of sexual assault and their babies. And we continue doing that. We continue supporting the 22 young girls and their babies. We already lost 2, but we've got good news to share with you. This last week, one of our girls has given birth to a triplet. So we've got 2 boys and a girl. It is amazing to see them. The mother and the babies are in good health. They are leaving hospital this week and they'll be going to the house that we call Ubuntu House. So thank you very, very much for your support, because that we could not be we know now we can look after them because we've got this community that has continued to support the work that we are doing on the ground. We have been focusing for the last week on getting the fund that we need for the houses. The Ubuntu House, the orphanage, has been run for a year, where we look after 32 children who are orphan, and those 33 children were part of a 350. I always mention this because it's sad we lost last year 350 children, and no one knows where they went. We only rescued 33, and we are looking after them. So this February was a year since we started looking after those children. And when we talk about looking after those children, it's to give them a sense of normality. All of them are attending school, from primary school to from nursery, primary school, and we've got one who is at college at the moment. And we are continue supporting them, giving them what they need, starting by love and other opportunities to be normal children in a region where children don't have chance to grow. So we were working out to raise the money for the rent, and thanks with our friend and also with the grant that we received, we could shift a little bit from what we received last month to help with the rent. So thank you very, very much. I know I cannot finish my intervention without mentioning Ahmed's work, and also my sister Adija did mention it. I spend most of the time as a filmmaker telling the stories of women and young girls who have been victims of sexual assault. Listening to Ahmed, I just feel like there is a good reason for me to continue capturing those stories, because the international community, the international law, no one has recognized what is happening to millions of Congolese women. I thought it's just a voice, but they don't have anyone to fight for them on the legal level. So it is good to see that there is among us some of us who still fighting for those victims. They are a lot. I've seen myself more than 500 women, and I'm not talking in space of a year. That could be 6 months or less, who are victims, and the age are from 2 years old. I remember I recorded a story of a 2 years old who has been sexually assaulted, and the mother could not do anything, and the nurse could not do anything, who was there with us. I've got stories of a 80 years old woman who has been sexually assaulted by a group of soldiers, Those are the things that we see every single day. And when you hear Ahmad work, you start believing that one day, whatever is happening to those women will be recognized as a genocide because it is true genocide. It is a weapon of war, but it is destroying the entire community, is destroying the entire country. But few people, some of the people don't believe that we have to keep on pushing. But I'm glad I'm part of, or we are part of DAG family, and we're still fighting for humanity. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Elvis, so much. And again, it is a privilege to be in this journey with you. And this is not charity, we're not being charitable. This is what we have to be doing. And we have to be in the corner of every woman, every girl in Congo who is violated. And it is our honor to be able to provide any level of comfort for these women, and we should be doing more, if anything. And maybe Ahmed has ideas to look into the legal framing of the femicide in Congo as well, maybe with some of his fellow students or some Congolese lawyers. It is very important to bear witness and to frame things the right way, the proper way, and prepare for reparation and prepare for accountability.
I'm going to, inshallah, share my email with you and see if I can try to get you connected with some, like actual lawyers that are practicing in this space. I wish I could practice myself, but not yet. And thank you for sharing the heartbreaking stories. So we really need to bring justice for all of these victims. So thank you.
Thanks to you too. Sorry, I wanted to add something. I know for the last 30 years or 25 years, Dr. Mukwege, that most of the people may know or won the Nobel Prize, has been highlighting the atrocities that the Congolese women have been facing for so many years. Yes, we thought winning the Nobel Prize will bring justice to those women, but the world went silent as nothing has happened. I spent in 2013, 2014, I spent a week with Dr. Mukwege and the team at the hospital. The same stories that we were recording 10 years ago are still happening today. And that is where you see the level of neglect that the women are facing. When you talk about the women being targeted in Gaza or in other parts of where there is a genocide, you understand that it is now the system that they use to destroy our communities, to destroy our cultures, to destroy even who we are by targeting women and young girls. Adija mentioned the age that are targeted in this country, in this town where I am at the moment, in this eastern part of Congo. You cannot believe the majority are young people, the majority are young girls, but we still don't have people on the side of those victims to fight for them, just to end the practice and end the genocide. So thank you very, very much. Thanks to you, and also thanks to Doug for giving us this platform to come and express ourselves and share with you the little bit of what we account every single day as struggle of our people.
Elvis, just to let you know, when we started thinking about Doctors Against Genocide, one of the people that inspired us was Dr. Mukwege. We wanted to be like Dr. Mukwege, not like the Nazi doctors who were planning who is to be killed and who is to be starved, or in the US, the eugenics doctors who planned how to get rid of disabled people and end fertility for people that are undesirable. So if you have contact with him still, we would love to have him and visit us on the webinar if he's willing to do that. It would be wonderful to hear from him.
Definitely, I don't have his direct contact, but I've got his team contact. I will start some email exchange, then probably link to you so that you can take it from there. I'm sure he will be happy to, personally, I'll be glad if he can join this team. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical, I don't have any expertise in medical field, but I'll feel like it would be great if you've got medical doctors who are coming, who are Congolese and understand the struggle and the challenges that Congolese people are facing. And he is the perfect person to be here doing this work. And I'm sure if we can get him one day, that would be great. I will work on that this week.
Great. Thank you so much. That's
welcome.
fantastic. Very good. Dr. Al-Farra is here. Dr. Ahmad?
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام وبركاته. دكتور
الله
أحمد
يمسكم بالخير.
والله إذا بتقدر تقيم ال الباك
شوي
جراوند
بس.
والبلور.
هنا نشيلهم.
ممتاز. شكله محمد هذا معنا.
ريان.
ريان اوكي.
هلا بريان.
إذا ريان معنا
فيك حي
معناته
الله.
everything will be okay.
إن شاء الله. مسؤول الاي تي.
مسؤول الاي تي exactly.
بالضبط.
تمام. السلام
نورتنا
عليكم.
دكتور أحمد.
الله يسعدك الله يسعدك، كل عام وانتم بخير إن شاء الله.
وأنت بألف خير. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, my brothers and sisters?
مشتاقين لك والله. You're wearing glasses? Do you usually wear glasses ولا اليوم إشي خصوصي؟
No. I was reading about what happened in Zawaida today.
Yeah.
They targeted 8 of the police of the local authority, and unfortunately 8 of them were passed away.
Wow.
I think that they will not forget the citizen of Gaza, even while they are kicked in Tel Aviv and in all the occupied area. They will not forget Gaza, and they will kill more and more children and more adults and more women in Gaza. The genocide is still continuing, unfortunately, up till now. I want to start from to introduce our beloved Dr. Ashraf. He will talk to you about his experience in the last week. And then we will talk with Dr. Abdullah, inshallah, and I'll finish with conclusion, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen.
إن شاء الله.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
وعليكم
Glad
السلام.
to be with all of you. And first of all, I would like to thank everybody for the support. Inshallah, we are supposed to exit on Tuesday, if everything goes okay, through Amman. And we are doing well over here, despite hearing the drones and the bombing on daily basis. Every other day there had been innocent people that had been killed across from the hospital and in other areas. Today I was taking care of a 19-year-old young lady who, when I asked her what happened, she said our tent got bombed. And that was in October 25. She lost her right leg. She had above knee amputation in her right leg. She had external fixators on her left leg, and she had more than 50 surgeries throughout since the injury. The amazing part is that she passed her high school diploma, ثانوية عامة, with 91%.
Wow.
Like she was in the 95th percentile, probably, of the students. And that tells you how the people in Gaza, despite of everything, they are still looking for the future and still working hard. I'm really amazed by the doctors, the surgeons, I'm working with in the operating room. They are doing amazing job. We had a case of spinal meningioma that was done by Dr. Nidal, one of the famous neurosurgeons here in town. She was paraplegic and she left the hospital walking.
Wow.
We had, exactly. It's wow. I mean, I couldn't believe that with the limited capacity that they have over here, that they were able to do this. We had another case of hemangiopericytoma, occipital hemangiopericytoma, which is a malignant tumor, very vascular. And the surgeon did it in 4 hours, and the lady did fine with preserving her vision. I have done surgery, FEMPOP, on a 99-year-old, and I have done, not done, but provided anesthesia for congenital diaphragmatic hernia on a 1-week-old. And despite having hypoplasia of the left lung, the NICU team were so efficient under the direction of Dr. Ahmed Al-Farra that the patient went home a couple of days ago. So these are just examples of the cases that I have seen here. I can't say anything other than these are miracles being happening on daily basis over here, with so much limitation on medication, on instruments, on consumables, on C-arms, on X-rays. There are no MRIs. You just have 2 CT scans, one in the north and one in the south, and that's it. And with all these limitations, they are doing wonder. So I just, this is, I'm witnessing this firsthand. So I just want to share my experience with all of you. And thank you again, Dr. Nidal, Karama, and Dania for your help. I think things are going in the right direction right now. I mean, I would love to stay here as much as I can, but the kind of uncertainty and our families and friends are being so worried about us with the war going in Iran. So I think it would be much safer for everybody and much calming for everybody that we get out as scheduled on Tuesday, inshallah. We will miss this greatly, and inshallah we will be back under better conditions, inshallah.
Thank
دكتورة
you.
كرامة، احنا دكتور نضال، how are you my friend؟
الحمد لله، منورين. ايه يا عم، ايه الحلاوه دي؟
ايش التيشيرتات
ايه العظمه
الحلوة
دي كلها؟
هذه؟
ايه، مقدم
ايش التيشيرتات الحلوة هذه؟
حسابك، تفضل خده.
والله منتهى الجمال.
الله يخليك، تسلم عيونك الحلوه. انا غيرت منك لانك صار تلبس احمر وخمري، فانا صرت بدي احاول keep up with you.
احنا مخلين اللبس لنذرلاند، بدنا نروح مع كرامة هناك. بدناش
بنظبط
نلبس
حالنا.
هنا.
We have to practice a little bit before we go
I'm,
there.
I'm, I'm just gonna give points for the best dressed.
Speaking of the Netherlands, they joined the ICC case, the ICJ case against Israel, actually.
Netherlands? Yeah,
The
actually,
Netherlands, yeah.
decent, yeah.
Surprised.
Surprised, very
Another
surprised.
reason why we may need to go there.
Yeah.
أشرف، الله يخليك، الحمد لله، ما شاء الله عنك. الله يحميكم أنت وأصحابك. إن شاء الله you'll get out safe soon. And I know you're having a lot of complex emotions now. You want to stay at the same time.
Yes.
You want to
Yes.
leave, and the family and the obligations. But
Yes.
inshallah khair, inshallah khair. But anyway, thank
Inshallah.
you for your sacrifice. Thank you for everything. And thank you for, connecting us with Dr. Ahmed, being there with him, keeping him some company.
نضال،
تفضل.
the existence and the presence of Dr. أشرف like فعلا البركة، يعني البركة حلت على المستشفى وعلى على أهل غزة كلهم. احنا فعلا we are really when talk with Dr. Ashraf and when sit with him and talk with him, we are feeling that we are talking with every member of Doctors Against Genocide. You are our brothers and sisters and our beloved brothers and sisters. So we feel that Dr. Ashraf is the heart of Doctors Against Genocide, and the heart is available now in Gaza. My friends, I will talk about 2 points, please. First point is what happened yesterday in Tobas. In Tobas yesterday, the Israel occupational forces killed Ali Khalid Sayil Bani Oda, 37 years old, the father. He was killed by gunshot. The soldiers killed him from a distance nearly 1 meter, and they were using the laser to put the shot or the bullet in between his eyes. Also, Wa'ad Uthman Bani Oda, she's 35 years old, she's the mother, and Muhammad Ali Khalid Bani Oda, 5 years old, and Uthman Ali Khalid Bani Oda is 7 years old. The problem is not here. The problem is the survived one, the boy, when he asked the soldier, the criminal soldier, why you killed my father and mother and my brother and sister? He told him, because I killed dogs. They are dealing with the Palestinian by arrogant way. They are dealing by not just Palestinian. I know from our colleagues from European countries that they hate the dealing with that guys, because they are dealing with them with arrogance, with something like إيش معنى متكبر؟ arrogance and يعني ازدراء. Detesting, yes. Yes, that it is the way that they are dealing with it. The next point I want to mention about is today the Deputy of Minister of Health, Dr. Yusuf, and his colleagues ask us to make a video about not to refer the patient outside. No, because no country, neither Arabian countries or European countries, want to deal or to manage the Palestinian patient. And we have to ask to refer our patient to the hospitals of the West Bank. This is more valuable for us and more respectful for us. And also we have to ask for all the medical supplies to come inside Gaza. We want to do everything for our patient in Gaza. We want to transfer them outside because we have a good basic of scientific base of medicine, and just we need some equipments and highly skilled person. I think we will pass and we will manage everything because all the cases last month who were referred to Egypt, I'm talking about pediatric age group, all of them passed away in Al-Arish. They left them in Al-Arish hospital and they passed away. No one was managed as the suitable way or the specialist center or something like that. If you want to treat on a private, you should assign on a paper that you will treated on a private hospital and you have to pay a lot of money. A lot of them they couldn't pay. And I think Dr. Nidal, Dr. Akrama, when you were in Egypt, you saw a lot of society and some who want to do good things. They try to afford and to pay for that people to try to manage them in the private section. But in Al Arish, there is no private section. All of them, unfortunately, passed away. So we have to mention about that problem. We need, again, to manage our patient here in Gaza. We need the medical supply. We need to rebuild the MRI, the CT scan, a lot of things. And I think we will succeed by support by colleagues. We have a lot of colleagues that we want to come here and to support their colleagues here. And I think we will succeed, inshallah. Thank you.
That's a very, very powerful and important point you're making, Dr. Ahmed. So the main way to support our people in Gaza, the communities in Gaza, is to help them rebuild their own infrastructure, their own hospitals, their own schools, their own universities, their own mosques, churches, you know, civilian infrastructure, water systems, rather than forcing them to go outside or being displaced outside, because honestly, that's what the occupier and that was the genocider want, is to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians, especially as you said that it seems in many countries that these people who have been evacuated are not treating properly, and maybe with some cultural differences makes it harder for them when they go abroad. And worse yet, they have to be separated from their families, because most of these people are allowed, are forced to go out either on their own or only with one, or only with one family member, making the family have to make the hard decision. Like the dad will go with the patient or with the child, or the mother will go, and the rest of the family and his siblings will stay in Gaza, adding hardship to their already, very stressful situation. So we need to always emphasize that we need to provide and be there for the people of Gaza to rebuild so they can take care of themselves. We know that there are more than 17,000 kids need to be evacuated. And we know at this pace that this perpetrator is allowing people to leave. It will take decades for these people to be allowed. And we know there are not too many countries accepting these patients at any significant rate. Uh, and as Dr. Ahmed said, they do have the skills, they do have the capacity, along with the help of our colleagues from, international doctors, that they can do most of these surgeries, most of these treatments in Gaza, if they are provided with the medications, the equipment, the supplies that they need. This is very important. We cannot force the people of Gaza out, more of them, um, just to get treatment. The option of the West Bank is very good, because it's the Palestinians are the same people. Usually, all the people in Gaza who went to the West Bank, they do feel home. It is their people. The treatment there is much better. It's still harder than being treated in Gaza, but it's not much different. So we need to emphasize this point, as this new call from the Ministry of Health and Dr. Abu Rish, as Dr. Ahmed mentioned. We need to push and force Israel to allow significant number of the patients in Gaza to go and be treated in the hospitals in the West Bank. Many of them actually do have the capacity, and they have been consistently and repeatedly showing their interest that they do want to help. They do have the capacity to help, but Israel have not been allowing this. So thank you, a very important point, and that actually goes also to to the case of exporting the care or exporting the skill, or having people, from outside come and take care of the people of Gaza or rebuild their systems or stuff like that. I know we heard some of
عبد الله
this in the
تعال
past
احكي
weeks,
عن
and
عبد
we're
الله
we're not we're not in
احكي عن
support of
الوضع
that.
الصدري بس.
Grama?
دكتور نضال، في الدكتور عبد الله بس بدي يحكي عن وضع البلمونولوجي. خليك تعال 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 انت قاعد عم بحكي بالتليفون. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
كيف
عليكم السلام،
كيف
يا
حالك
هلا يا
دكتورة
هلا.
كميلة؟ دكتور نضال، كل عام وانتم بخير ان شاء
يا
الله.
أهلا يا أهلا دكتور.
احنا اليوم انا عملت بس 1 برونكوسكوب لطفل 1 year suffering from since birth stridor since birth with recurrent chest infection. Bronchoscope done today. I show severe laryngomalacia. No, my one case I did today. الشغلة الثانية بدي أحكي عنها بخصوص الجو. إحنا قطاع غزة بمر أمس واليوم جو سيء جدا، كله غبار يا دكتور نضال. يعني إحنا الجو عندنا ملوث في غزة نتيجة الحرب والدمار والبيوت المهدمة والطيران. فامبارح مرينا في جو سيء جدا، كان كله غبار رمل. طبعا هذا بيأثر على جميع الأطفال الأمراض الصدرية، ممكن يعمل لنا انفكشن.
نضال بدك تترجم له؟
Yeah, can you do it? Karam Allah khalik, please.
Yes.
So he mentioned, yeah, go ahead.
So doctor, Remind me,
Abdullah.
Dr. Abdullah, sorry, Dr. Abdullah is a pulmonologist. He did one bronchoscope today, which is a procedure to look into the bronchus and the trachea. And one case showed severe tracheomalacia in a baby. He's laryngomalacia. And
Yes.
he's telling us also that the weather in Gaza has been horrible. We have seen some of the videos. نحن. There's a severe pollution because of the rubble, because the houses are the buildings are all destroyed, and because of the bombs. People are in the tents, and the winds are bringing all the pollutants into the air, which makes respiratory diseases much worse. تفضل دكتور عبد الله.
نعم. فاحنا معظم الامراض اللي بتصيب اطفال او كبار السن وخاصه على الجهاز التنفسي ممكن يؤدي الى انفكشن اكيوت برونكولايتس، ممكن يؤدي الى برونكيكتيزيس، تمدد في القصبات الهوائيه، ممكن يؤدي الى لانج فايبروزيس، في النهايه ممكن يؤدي الى لانج كانسر. فهذا كله نتيجه الهواء الجوي الملوث من الحرب، ومن المرحله اللي خشينا فيها كانت الجو سيء جدا بالرمال امس.
So Dr. Abdullah is saying because of the pollutants in the air and because of the bad quality of the air, all the simple things like asthma or respiratory infections become much worse and lead to lung fibrosis or even lung cancers in some cases, and severe asthma that's very difficult to treat. So unfortunately, the genocide keeps giving. تفضل دكتور.
يعطيكم العافية وربنا يوفقكم، كل عام وانتم بخير إن شاء الله.
Thank you.
كل عام وانتم بخير يا دكتور عبد الله.
كل عام وانتم بخير إن شاء الله دكتور.
دكتور، ايش عملت له الطفل اللي عنده لارينجوماليشيا؟ شو كان في عندك اشياء للعلاج؟
احنا بالنسبة للارينجو ماليشيا طبعا احنا بنطمن الأهل إنه سيلف ليميتد، المرض بيروح لوحده بدون أي تدخل جراحي.
قديش
لكن
عمره
في مرض
الطفل؟
سنة 1 year suffering from severe stridor since birth. طبعا السترايدر له another causes، لكن المين causes هو congenital anomalies in the larynx. ممكن يكون laryngomalacia، ممكن يكون laryngeal web، focal cord paralysis، foreign body، trauma، cancer، infection، hypocalcemia، hypomagnesemia. This causes for stridor.
Very
لكن
bad. Take
most
notes.
causes yes. Most common causes for stridor in the patient, in the baby and the children, congenital anomalies in the larynx, laryngomalacia.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. We have medical students, so we can all learn from you. MashaAllah, you gave the differential diagnosis on one breath. It's not even. Wow.
فاحنا بنطمن الاهل انه سيلف ليميتد، لكن in severe cases in severe laryngomalacia can do tracheostomy.
So Dr. Abdullah is saying that for cases of laryngomalacia, when the larynx is soft or tight, the reassurance is the best policy because it's self-limited. But in some cases, there needs to be a surgical option where a tracheostomy is placed. Just to show that our colleagues in Gaza are so exceptionally good. They're just very good pediatrician, very good surgeons, very good internists, and we're always learning from them. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. شكرا والله انت أستاذنا.
شكرا لك يا دكتورة، كل عام وانتم بخير ان شاء الله.
تسلم يا رب. Okay. So, should we hear from Dania about the Washington, D.C. and how things went? Last week.
Yes, DAG was on the Hill last Wednesday. We met with a few senators, and our team did drop-ins to all the offices that we couldn't get meetings with. We pushed the idea, we informed them that the Rafah border has been closed since the escalation in Iran. We also let them know that the medical supplies continue to sit at the border. We shared some of the testimony given to us here by the doctors in Gaza. It's getting really discouraging because the people we're meeting with seem to be helpless. A lot of them told us that they're distracted with the war with Iran, but in fact, I mean, this is all connected, and I think I don't know if they're unaware of the connection that lies, or if this is kind of just their way to kind of avoid the Palestine issue. And I think the importance of us rebuilding, helping rebuild the healthcare system in Gaza is because the peace board has very insidious plans for how they go about these tactics, and in terms of implementing just colonial strategies to run these healthcare systems. So I think it's really important that we restore the agency for the people in Gaza. You know, as Dr. Ahmed said, the healthcare workers in Gaza know how to heal their people and cure their people, and I think we need to keep just supporting this initiative that they can treat their own people. We just have to lift the siege that's been suffocating them, and just doing our best to stop the violence. 12 people were killed today in Gaza from that same strike that Dr. Ahmed mentioned. And this is not taking into account the incident that happened in the West Bank. So I think we just need to, just keep at it. And it's easy to kind of forget about what's happening there with all the violence that's going on in the world. But thank you to everybody who showed up, and hopefully next month on April 15th, we show up stronger. And both the House and the Senate will be in session. So hopefully we have a full day of meetings and continue to push this. Hopefully the situation in Iran would have been de-escalated by then, and we can kind of refocus on just allowing Gaza to breathe. And and so join us on April 15th. Make whatever accommodations you can make to be with us. I promise you won't regret it. It really is the most important work we can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Dania. It was very good to see you in New York and in DC and spend some time together. Really appreciated seeing everyone.
Wanted to say something real quick, and to Dr. Ruhr, Dr. Ruhr has been in the advocacy activism spaces for so long, and it is frustrating because things seem to be getting worse and do not move. The way I kind of keep going is we need to be the voices in the halls of power. We need to be there. We need to speak up. We need to educate. We need to speak to the staffers, and like Dania said, tell them about what's happening at Rafah. Tell them about what's happening in Congo. Tell them about what's happening in Sudan. Tell them about what's happening in the West Bank, in the Tammoon. It's on us. We know this. We know the stories. We know the suffering, and we have the anger and the energy to propel us to do something. I just cannot imagine knowing all this and not doing anything and just sitting home. So one of the things that we have together as a community, as a DAG community, is that we have the platform to do more education and educate others, educate our colleagues, move them and have them be more involved. Wherever we are, we have a platform for advocacy with the politicians, with the elected officials, with the UN bodies. We have to be there as a medical community. And we also have the avenue for community support, which we do by working with people in Gaza, working with Elvis, working with Hadija. I think this is the only way to exist in this unjust world. And I would love to hear from John on this.
Yeah, I agree with everything Beth, Danny, and Karama said. Having you all come down here and join me that once a month, this month in particular, for some reason, really touched me. It's been a hard couple of weeks, obviously, since the things began in Iran. I was on a call with Quakers in Kyiv who reminded me they had a heavy bombardment by Russia last night. And yet there they are, still meeting as pacifists in Kyiv after 4 years. So there's something about God being on our side, I think, that actually does have a real correlate. Uh, but I wanted to make a suggestion that we should think about in terms of our advocacy, because as you know, we got very few appointments this time, although we had a couple of very, very good meetings. I have enough personal experience moving uh, Senator Also Brooks from just 100% behind Israel and everything to really agreeing with most of our positions. We got a ways to go, but it took building a personal relationship with her main advisor and meeting her herself. And I just want to suggest, do we have the capacity? I think we have, what, 2,000 members or something, all the USians, if we could write to each of them, maybe we need to hire an intern or somebody to do this or a database manager, but to contact every one of our members and say, if you can't join us on April 15th, can we have your name and will you write this letter to get this appointment with your representative? And try to hit absolutely everybody where we have a constituency so that we're speaking with authority when we go in there, not just from our moral position, which is so beautifully stated by everybody here, but by our political power, that we have constituents in lots and lots of places that we're not taking advantage of. And the second piece of that, of course, would be once we see somebody and they promise to read something or do a follow-up or don't give us an appointment, that the person in that constituency sends an email every day until that person responds. It won't get everybody, but I think we could really improve our reach if we put a little more effort into this. So really go through our database. That would be a lot of work. I know I don't have the capacity to do it, but if we could hire somebody maybe to do it and reach out with a phone call or an email to every single constituent by their district and see if we can really beef up our work in April.
That's a very good idea. I mean, we were doing something like that by asking our members to sign an Action Network letter. But every time we go to the Hill, and I think we should go back to this. I mean, as you all know, we are all volunteer. We have jobs and we have responsibilities, and we do this work on top of work. Dania and Iman both are very busy professionals and they do the appointments for us. So I think it should be easy enough for the people who are not coming to just sign a letter that we give them as a draft. So I think we should work on a strong letter for the month of April and send it to our members. We have over 25,000 people in our mailing list, so we should get
25,000.
Yes, we have 25,000. So, most of them are in the US. So we should be able to get at least 1,000, if
So
not more.
I did want to just say we do utilize that database. So typically what happens is like an office will write back and ask if there will be any constituents present, and we'll let them know that there are constituents that are a part of DAG. And sometimes we'll outreach the constituent and ask them. And in the past, we've gotten them on Zoom if they've showed interest. But I agree with that second piece of advice. I think we need to beef up what we do from Hill visit to the next. I think it's like following up, and that should come from the constituency of the offices we meet with. I feel like that's where a lot of the work that needs to be done, because we can't just wait the 28 days to pass for the next time we're on the Hill. Although when we're there, it's nice, it's powerful. They see us, they see a group of us, they get all this this up-to-date information that, let's be honest, many of them don't know, they're not keeping up with. So they're hearing it from us for the first time. But that second piece that you suggested, John, I think that's where we're falling short. And I'd love to brainstorm with you maybe like offline on how we can do that, or if you have any ideas that you want to share here. But I think that that's where we got to do better.
Yeah, I'll try to get something down, at least an outline in writing, as I think I know from the experience and the people I've changed their minds on and some other issues too. It's persistence and building relationship that makes the biggest difference.
Yeah, no,
Not letting
absolutely.
somebody
Also,
go.
Brooks, especially your relationship with also Brooks's office, and we're starting to see that with like some of the offices we meet with, is we just have to name drop a DAG member, and they're like, oh, is so and so going to be there, and it helps us get the meeting. So I think it's really important to hone in on that.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and Mary Beth?
You know, before we go, do you want to talk about the Cuba action, John? And I think you have a question from Dr. Habib, please.
Yeah, go, Dr. Habib, and then I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, hi. I was interested you mentioned about the Quakers there, and I've met with the Quakers here in London, particularly related to an interest I have in medical conscientious objection. I was wondering if it's something that you can comment on, and the history of medical conscientious objection in the US.
I've worked a lot with conscientious objectors and currently still do. This group of Quakers in Kiev are all conscientious objectors, and they spend most of their energy trying to keep each other out of prison and advocating internationally for their cause. Quakers have been leaders of conscientious objection since their founding 400 years ago. But I don't know anything specific about medical conscientious objection. What do you educate me on what your thought is there?
Well, there's only ever been one in the UK. I mean, on a slightly technical ground, he wasn't technically a conscientious objector, but he effectively was in heart and soul, and he was sentenced to jail by a military tribunal and fined £20,000 as well. So he's the only doctor who has been sanctioned by a military tribunal in British history, and that was over the Iraq War. And I've just been trying to gather cases on this for some work that we're trying to do through our union to ensure that this sort of thing isn't repeated, so that medical conscientious objectors can be empowered in the future.
Yeah, let me throw my email in the chat and drop me a line and I'll send you some information about people that are working on this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So Cuba. Yeah, there's a contingent of apparently internationally about 450 people that are going to converge next weekend in solidarity with the Cuban people, who just last week Trump announced they're next. I'm going to send Marco and take care of the Cuban problem. Now, the good news is they don't have any aircraft carriers and only have a number of destroyers around Cuba. So, we don't attack anybody unless we have firepower 100 times what theirs is. That may not be enough in Cuba. So what they're doing instead is a total blockade. No oil and no almost anything. Can you imagine if somebody just said no more heating for your house, no more cooking for your house, no, not another gallon of fuel to go anywhere on any transportation? So we're going to have to limit ourselves to Havana because there's actually no way to get anywhere without using up fuel that the Cubans need for themselves. So global medical partners, and I'd be interested in hearing if anybody here is familiar with them. They seem legit when I looked at them. I don't know them yet. Have bought about 6,000 pounds worth of surgical equipment and diagnostic equipment to take into Cuba on this airplane. 130 of us are flying out on Friday from Miami. And Maisa, you're going with us?
Yes, I am. I'm going with you. And I just have to say, like, as a Palestinian, also like as somebody who's been like watching what the blockade on Gaza, like the parallels couldn't be as similar, right? Like in the West Bank, there is no gas. So it's like the same playbook, the same tactics. And I can only imagine if this left unchallenged and unbroken, what's going to happen to the Cuban people. Like I was in Cuba maybe 4 years ago, and already then Like you would walk into a supermarket in Havana and there's like the shelves are bare. There's almost nothing. And I can only imagine what it looks like right now. And the state of health, the state of the, poverty and food insecurity that the Cuban people are facing. And for what? For what? So I'm looking forward to going and be in solidarity with everyone and supporting in any way I can and sharing, obviously, testimony from there.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're only going to be there a couple of full days, and we've been told that the hospitals don't take visitors and things on the weekends. I don't know about that. I hope to find out more because I'd like to represent DAG in some formal way. Nadal gave me some swag to take, and I'll share with that. And we'll see if we can start a DAG chapter there. But I get some colleagues working with us. But it's all part of the same playbook. It's just unbelievable. And it's clear governments, and I had hoped the international government system with the UN, the International Criminal Court, I mean, they help, but so minimally that it has to be people, it has to be us that does this work. And I have a lot of hope that we can do it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And for anybody who's interested in supporting, I think Code Pink, they have a donation campaign specifically to fund some of the equipment and some of the supplies that are coming with us. And it's going to be a very small amount that each of us individually can carry, but I'll reach out to you, John, later and see what I can bring with me in a carry-on that can be helpful.
Yeah, I was torn between just medications and solar powered equipment. And that's what I'm looking to buy as soon as I get off of here is a bunch of solar panels that whatever will fit in a small suitcase, battery chargers.
Yeah. Dr. Suyang just joined us. Welcome, Dr. Suyang. How are you? You were not sure you were going to join us, so we're grateful you could.
No. I'm just running late, you see. And I was at this Al-Quds Day rally. It's been going for 40 years. And then because the government has accused them of, being an Iranian, this and other, so have banned the march. So last minute allow us a small space where we cram in maybe about 5 to 10,000 people. So we're kettled in 2 blocks. The speakers on the speakers block and the people who came for the demo are just horrendous, and they block off the whole of central London. Buses are not running and so on. But it is quite educational.
Yeah.
Because the Iranian imam, one of them, I don't know his name, actually stood up and said, this attack on Iran is not about Iran. It is about Palestine. It is about destroying and possessing Palestine, and anybody who gets in the way gets hammered up. So whether it's the Lebanese, in the past it used to be the Iraqis, the Libyans, and now they're getting Iran, and you just watch it, it will widen. So it is the duty of every one of us to really stand up and oppose this. So I learned, I couldn't find the words to work out what on earth is going on, but that's it. He made it so clear. And to have a cleric, Muslim cleric standing up, saying that it's not about my country. It's all about Palestine.
And Palestine, it's about all of us.
Yes, and Palestine is about the whole world.
All of us. All of us.
All of us. Al-Quds is a center. The center of, it is the beginning of all faiths, right? And it's the place that teach us that we are all children of God. We're made in His image. We are each other's brothers and sisters, and we live and we die and we prosper and we suffer together. That is Al-Quds.
Yeah. It's the last few weeks. It's been also very evident and clear that it's it's really about a struggle between the forces who are doing everything for love of humanity, and
Yeah.
then the other forces that are doing it out of absolute utter hate.
Yeah.
You know, the soldier that killed 4 family members and left the 2 boys to watch their parents and their, you know, siblings get
Yeah.
killed, then beat them up and injure them.
Yeah.
That can be an act of love. This is an act of hate, and
Yeah.
I think we will win because we all bring so much love
Yeah.
for humanity and
Yeah.
justice.
And you see, love is stronger than hate,
Yeah.
stronger than death. Solidarity is bigger than self-interest. And we will be there.
Absolutely.
We will be there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Sorry to be late. So good to see everyone. Okay.
We're glad that you made it safe because we were worried about you.
Oh yeah, 12 were arrested. And the people who invited me to speak were so worried because I'm not very fit, you see, still on cancer treatment. So I said, they told me not to come. I said, no, I have to come. This is a year I have absolutely to come. Even if I just go there and stand there, I have to come. What makes me different from the old age pensioner who sits on the grass holding a placard and get arrested? You know, so no matter who we are, what we are, how strong we are, how weak we are, we make our individual stand. That's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
courage.
Yeah.
Can I introduce the next speaker, Maisa?
Please.
I never wanted to have an army veteran on our side because all the training that the army do, unfortunately, are being used for committing crimes. But that same training, that battle testament, is amazing when it's used in the right direction. And the best example of this was Maribeth Brownlee. She has been amazing the past week, and all her skills, all the training, all her, training, when it is used for the common good, she was amazing. She has been a great help for the 2, 3 events. She has been all over DC, Philadelphia, New York, and we are really grateful, Maribeth, for all what you did, all the help that you provided. And thank you for being here, and it's your turn, your feedback.
Okay. Gosh, Karama's not here. Maybe she'll see it if she watches the video because she doesn't like to be thanked on air either. You know, and she told us this, she feels shy, but so I'm going to do it anyway. Listening to her talk at the fundraiser in Brooklyn when she did the opener, like I just like to get to look at her as an example of a woman in medicine, both her brilliance, her heart, like how she maneuvers the dignity with which she carries herself. And even when people need some guidance and redirection, she does it with such respect to their personhood. And so I'm very grateful for her and that she's not here to make me stop talking about it. So I had to sneak it in. So let's see, it was a busy few days. We got a lot done. We have some more growing to do with the campaign for funding, rebuilding the hospital, but we'll get there. I just continually grateful to be part of this group. A lot of the folks talking with them at the fundraisers, the idea of DAG like partnering with the people on ground, that this is not like the white savior NGO approach. That's really what gets a lot of buy-in and people being like, "Ooh, I can get on board with this." So thank you to everybody for what you do. We'll see you in April 15th, 1,000 white coats.
Are you going to help us prepare for that? We need to mobilize. What is this April 15th, 1,000 white coats? What is it about?
April 15th is a variety of healthcare workers and allies coming together to say to our elected officials, we don't accept this. We don't accept the terms of ongoing imperial violence. We don't accept the United States continuing its tradition of genocide. We don't accept the dehumanization of people within our own borders, be it through the violence enacted by police forces, by ICE. And we can find our way. And we have groups like DAG to continue to be that steady voice of moral guidance in humanity.
Yep, thank you. And there is something else happening at the end of April. What is that?
I graduate med school.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
congratulations.
congratulations.
End
So
of
you're going to
April.
be an official MD at the end of this
A
end
DO.
of April.
A
Dr.
DO.
Maribel.
Yeah, and we're only authorized 6 tickets for graduation, and then you have to wheel and deal to get the other ones. And I've been trying because I was already maxed out at my 6 tickets with my spouse, my kids. Karama's coming to do my pudding, and Nadal said he's coming too. And I keep trying to find him a ticket, but people also remind me, like, don't worry too much about Nadal. He'll find a way to talk his way in. He'll find a friend who'll be like, yeah, sure, come with us. So inshallah, it will work out. I have to finish my research report on the research block I just did, and one more elective.
Great. That's amazing. Actually, you are an example of the human potential. When you really want to do something, you can do it. No excuse. So having a family or having been in the military for what, almost 15 years or more, and having a full family and all these things, you still followed your ambitions and you are dedicated and you went through medical school. You're graduating soon. Alf Mabruk. Alf Mabruk. We learn from you, Maribeth. And also 1,000 quotes on April 15th and another 1,000 quotes to Maribeth's graduation. Let's maybe have the same people come to your graduation too.
There are not enough tickets, you just said.
Thank you, Dr. Sui. Yes, I was like,
I just wanted to tell
We
something.
can't protest, be on the
I,
outside. Don't need to
I,
go inside.
sorry, I
Go ahead.
can't make it, but who are the people that can come? Can nurses join you or not? Only doctors?
No, all healthcare workers and their allies, their patients, their communities,
Okay,
everyone is
fantastic.
welcome to enjoy.
So I'm going to put out a notice for health workers for Palestine, UK, to see any of them will come.
We're doing it in here in the United States, but actually it might be a good idea maybe to have a simultaneous thing. Like those in the United States, we need 1,000 coats there. UK, we can have the same thing. The UK healthcare workers can do it in UK, and
Okay.
Canada they can do it. So maybe actually let's expand our vision and make it a
Simultaneously.
global event, not just in the United
Okay.
States.
So it's on the 15th, huh?
April 15th. I mean,
April
April, we chose April because April is the International Day for the awareness and prevention of the crime of genocide.
Okay.
Since I mean, motivated by our advocacy against genocide and we are appalled by this crime continue to be committed in the 21st century, we thought April would be a suitable month for this. And we thought that healthcare workers should lead the fight to prevent, stop, and respond to genocides. And here in the United States, there is another reason for this date. April 15th, they call it the tax day. It's the last day of the year where people pay their taxes, which means they send their money for our politicians to send free bombs and airplanes to those perpetrators. So we need to make a statement that this is not accepted. You cannot use our taxes to kill other people, children, and to start new wars and continue wars for the sake of war. Actually, they're doing it now for the sake of war because their handlers, the war machine, the warmongers, they're making a lot of money from this. While every American, every human being on the planet is being affected negatively by these wars, both mentally and physically and financially, there are few people in this world who are making billions and billions and billions of dollars every day because of these wars. So these are all manufactured, unnecessary, illegal wars that the imperialist United States and its handler in Israel are committing. So this is kind of multiple reasons for choosing this day, but hopefully we can do it in other countries too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
okay.
in Canada on the 17th of April, which also is the Palestinian Prisoner Day,
Mhm.
there is a mobilization for healthcare workers to do, a series of events, including a visual press conference. And then in Canada, you can't actually walk into the parliament like you do in the US.
Yeah.
But we're going to try to do a press conference inside the Parliament Hill to bring
Great.
awareness to
Fantastic.
Dr. Al-Safiya, but also all of the Palestinian prisoners that are illegally detained in Israeli torture camps, as well as the International Day to recognize the crime of genocide. So, we can discuss logistics, but I think it's good to think about it as a global event.
Yeah, okay.
And I will just, I guess, maybe conclude my section with something Karama used to say to me when I'm not a doctor, I'm just a med student. And she would always say, a doctor is a teacher, not a degree. So you don't have to be a doctor to be a doctor against genocide. We are teaching others in a way forward.
Fantastic.
And you're a great teacher, Mary Beth.
Yeah, Mary Beth, you are it, We're so
Yeah.
proud of you.
Mhm.
I really am.
Danya, tell them to stop with this. It's too much. Tell them
And by the way, anyone who is fighting genocide is a doctor against genocide. That's what it means. Anyone who's active against this, doing all what they can to stop, prevent, and respond to genocide is a doctor against genocide. Doesn't need to be a medical degree. I agree, Maribeth. Thank you. I think we lost Gur. I'll see if we can come back for his reflections. But we have Dr. Ahmed Farrah. Dr. Ahmed, as usual, we would love to close with you if you're still around. One second.
دكتور نضال.
تفضل. ايه he's taking screenshots of our meeting and putting it in Khan Yunis. So تفضل Dr. Ahmed, we're seeing you. I saw the picture that you just shared.
Assalamu
كان
alaikum.
Yeah.
السلام عليكم.
Alaikum assalam. Welcome back.
I know from my colleague Dr. Ashraf, my brother, that Dr. Sweet has wrote a book about from Beirut to Jerusalem.
Yes.
Please, can you send some PDF for it? I'm interested about that book. Please.
Okay, I can send you, but this is the old edition, okay? Because this book is published in 1988. So now
Yes.
the last edition is the 40th anniversary of Sabra Shatila, but I can send you the one which I published in 2009 after Caslet, okay? In PDF. Yeah, we'll send it to you. Okay. Tonight.
Please.
Okay.
Please. Second, I want to express my congratulation for Maribeth for graduation. Inshallah. What is your specialist will be, Maribeth?
I find out tomorrow. I get an email if I matched, and then Friday it's where. My top two are dual emergency medicine, family medicine programs. Those are 5-year residencies, and then the rest are straight emergency medicine. They're all 3-year residency programs. So we will see. We will see come Monday and Friday this coming week. I will let you know.
Inshallah. Inshallah. I think you will be a great doctor, inshallah. And you will be professor and you're a specialist. And inshallah, you will visit Gaza and give your experience for the doctors in Gaza. Inshallah, Rabbil Alameen.
Inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Shukran, doctor.
Most welcome. Maisa, anyone will visit West Bank as soon as possible?
I am trying to see if I can get there in mid-April. Are you coming?
No.
He can't come.
I think that I think that West Bank need to be supported
Absolutely.
Nowadays, because they are under a lot and aggressive of steps that taken against them from the occupational forces, and they try to tight on them and try to close and try to evacuate and try to do everything to punish. I asked my colleagues in the West Bank. They told me that a lot of the drugs that we are asking about it is also missed in the West Bank, and they are under siege like Gaza. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Here my son Rayan, he want to talk about the webinar. Come in.
Hi everyone.
اهلا ريان. نورك.
اول حاجه كيف حالكم جميعا؟ الله يمسكم بالخير جميعا.
هلا يا هلا.
دكتور نضال وينه؟
هيو بس بجوز عنده
بدنا اياه ضروري.
هلا بيجي. تفضل احكي، خبرنا هلا
يعني احنا بدنا اياكم، يعني ان شاء الله بنتمنى انه بدناش اياكم تضلكم تسالوا عن الوضع في غزه. يعني we need to come here and to see in your eyes how the situation in Gaza Strip. يعني ان شاء يعني احنا نفسنا انه يصير هيك ان شاء الله. فبدنا ضروري انه ان شاء الله نشوفكم هان، ونشوف الدكتور نضال زي ما شفنا حضرات الدكتور اشرف، واستمتعنا بشوفته صراحه. 3 اسابيع كانوا يعني من افضل 3 اسابيع اللي مروا علي في كل الحرب، الحمد لله.
ما شاء الله.
بس يعني حبينا نسلم عليكم.
والله احنا يعني ما بتتخيل قديش نحن حابين انه نيجي كلنا ويعني طبعا نتشرف. بس الاحتلال الغاشم اللي مش مخلي اهل البلد يشوفوا بعض، هذا يعني جزء من it's part of the plan is to prevent Palestinians from seeing other Palestinians, which is the core of dehumanization. Dr. Ahmed, بالنسبة للبنك, we absolutely echo and agree with the sentiment that the West Bank unfortunately is not getting enough attention because of all the atrocities that are happening everywhere else. That you're right, the siege on the West Bank is tightening. I mentioned early on, there's no gas in the West Bank. There's no gas for people to be warm or cook, and it's just things are getting so horrible, where not only the settlers but the soldiers are killing Palestinians just for going to shop for Eid clothing, like this family, Bani Ouda family that we just talked about. And Karama and I, we have this dream of hosting medical missions in our homes in Nablus. So inshallah we will work on it to bring a group of physicians and healthcare workers to the West Bank, to not only to support but to bear witness to the challenges that are happening. I know Yiping tried to get into the West Bank recently and he was prevented. So the same restrictions that are happening in Gaza are happening on the West Bank, not allowing healthcare workers to come in and help. Yiping?
We want their presence from West Bank to be weekly, not monthly or interrupted. We want them to be weekly in our webinar, because really we are in both sides and we are in the same situation, Gaza and West Bank.
Absolutely.
I think Dr. Habib want to talk. How are you, my brother, Dr. Habib?
I'm well, Dr. Ahmed. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. كل عام وانت بخير.
Well, I wanted to ask, please, because one thing I've been worried about is, I had an ambition perhaps to go to the Lebanon border as well, to see if I could help as a doctor at the refugee camps. And of course, the more one is involved with these things, the more it flags things up to the Israeli authorities. And I'm so keen to come back to Gaza, and I wondered, and particularly, if Yiping may have something to say about this as well. Does the more trips that one makes, does that then reduce the chance of being able to come back?
Can I answer this?
Yes.
Please.
I think it's not how many trips you make, it's how outspoken you are in bearing witness to the situation. I've got people who have been many, many times and they still go in, but they're completely neutral, apart from sewing up wounds, and so they're not going to harm the image of Israel. Okay. So I have a feeling that it's quite easy for you to get to Lebanon via Beirut airport, so long as the airport is not bombed or closed. That's not a problem. But once you got a Lebanese stamp in your passport, you got to get a second passport without a Lebanese stamp to go into anywhere Israeli occupied. Yeah, because if your passport have got a Lebanese stamp and you use the same passport to go even by the bridge or by Tel Aviv, en route to Gaza, and you will have a problem. So I'm not quite sure. I think the best thing you do is test whether you are still able to get into Gaza. And if you can, then just leave Lebanon for a little while. But if they deny you entry, then you can happily go to Lebanon.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the way things are.
Thank you.
It's very sad because, they just do not want witnesses. And we as doctors, as health workers, apart from supporting our Palestinian colleagues, apart from looking after Palestinian patients, our prime duty is also to speak up to prevent atrocities, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
along.
and to avoid self-sabotage as well, of course. But yes, sorry, Dr. Eubank.
No worries. I think I just wanted to add along that thread of what Dr. Suyang mentioned is the really importance of bearing witness. And when you have privilege in this world, for example, with a passport that allows you to travel to certain places that other people cannot travel to or unable to travel to, especially people who are born there, or born in exile as refugees, I think we need to use that privilege. And until that privilege is revoked, so be it. We continue to speak up after bearing witness. So I think, yeah, it's really important to have these kinds of conversations as to like where are we most effective? And I think, I am a good doctor, but I don't think, like I could do anything differently or above and beyond compared to the doctors that I met, like in Gaza, for example. And in fact, I'm a hindrance. I don't speak Arabic. I do not know the community and the people like they know their community and their people, and working with limited resources and finding ways to still provide care. But what I had the privilege to do was to bear witness, right? And I think there are ways in which we can still be effective as healthcare workers who are in solidarity with Palestinians. And as was mentioned, I tried to go into the West Bank in the fall of last year in October because I was seeing how much attention was not being paid to the West Bank, and it hurt me so much to know that. Knowing friends and colleagues in the West Bank, and knowing the settler violence that has just increasingly escalated day after day. But even that I was unable to do with the Israeli military denying me entry and deporting me. But when we can do those things, I think we must. We are compelled to. If we have privilege, we use it. And I think about it was shortly after I left Gaza. The World Central Kitchen, their convoy was attacked multiple times with Israeli airstrikes. Everyone in that convoy died. People with foreign passports were in these convoys. People who just wanted to feed people in Palestine, in Gaza. And I remember Mohammed El-Kurd, a Palestinian writer, saying, "This is not a moment for foreign passport holders to like flee and exit Gaza. If anything, this is the moment where everyone who has a foreign passport and can enter Gaza, even if it's, you know, under occupation by Israel and Israel has to approve these people, you get in the way because there is a degree of protection when there are foreign passport holders on the ground working side by side in solidarity with our Palestinian healthcare worker colleagues.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Thank you, Dr. Yuping and Dr.
Thank you,
Sriyan.
Dr. Yuping. صاحبي ريان بعده هون ولا وين راح ريان؟
Ryan was looking for you.
I know وينه ريان بدي اشوفه.
He wanted to give you a personal invitation.
Rayan is preparing cacao and chocolate because he's preparing for ليلة القدر إن شاء الله.
طب تقدر تودي can you take the phone? Are you on the computer or the phone? I want to see him preparing, see how good is he in preparing
بده
chocolate.
يشوفك وهو بتعمل.
تقدر؟
كان
كان
ودي يا دكتور نضال. هلا كيف حالك؟ والله
ما شاء
الحمد
الله عنك
لله
محلو
تمام.
محلو في رمضان. شو
الله
عامل معك؟
يسعدك والله يا دكتور نضال، يعني هذا انا عادي نورمال، بس انت عينيك حلوه يا دكتور نضال.
الله يخليك. طب قرب خلينا نشوفك، قرب اقعد.
هينا موجودين.
انا مغلبك في غزة.
والله ولا حد، الحمد لله من
احنا
اول
كلنا
ما فات
وراك، دير
دكتور
بالك
اشرف
اذا
والوضع
اي واحد
تمام.
مغلبك احكي لنا بس.
تقلقش بوجودكم ما حدش بيغلبنا.
شو قصة تقلقش؟ ليش بيحكوا تقلقش اهل غزة؟
دونت وري يعني، بس انت لما تسمع هاي الكلمه اقلق، ضروري
ايوه
تقلق.
بالضبط، ايوه دائما هاي مشهورة اهل غزة، they always say تقلقش. بتكون
فعلا
كل الطيارات والقصف احزمة نارية وبقول لك
بكون
تقلقش.
الوضع كرب جدا والدنيا يعني كرب وسودة في وجه الواحد، وبقول لك تقلقش. لازم بوزيتيف انرجي،
feeling optimistic.
طب اسمع ريان، ابوك بشغلك تشتغل انت بتساعد شيء بالاوفيس ولا نعمل لك مشروع لحالك خاص؟
والله احنا بنشوف.
فكر لي فيها، بدنا مشروع انت والشباب اللي زيك هيك الجيل اشبال، نعمل لكم سبيشال بروجكت فور شو اشبال بالانجليزي؟
والله
وات از اشبال؟
انا في
teenagers.
الحرب يعني كنت فاتح وقاعد بحاول اشتغل كتير منيح، لكن حين يعني كل حاجة جنبتها على جنب، ركزت في دراستي اهم حاجة، يعني خلينا
الدراسة
نخلص بعدين
اوكي.
بصير خير.
ممتاز. اوكي بدناش نلهيك عن الدراسة، مزبوط صح.
He's preparing some lectures and he's doing connection for Zoom webinar, something like that. But he's do it for it freely.
For free
Doctor,
well I wish
yes,
we had
yes.
you here والله. I need your help too. بس يلا دكتور احمد lucky with you ان شاء الله.
Dr. Nidal, I want to ask, it's a long time we didn't see Dr. Adla.
هي الدكتورة عدلة okay, yeah, I want to hear this message. Say it again, please. We always complain about her. Adla, she's either fully present or she disappears completely. So please say it again in English. Adla, listen to us, Adla. We have to record this. This is an open recorded call to Adla Sukkar.
We demand Adla. Adla was, we saw her in DC and in the fundraiser and the day on the Hill, and what she's told me is that the work schedule has been crazy, but we always miss Adla. And we love to see her, of course.
Yeah, we would love to hear more from her, but mashallah anha, she's busy. She's, she's in intensive care, critical care. Her schedule is full. She has, mashallah, family, and she's doing too many things. But I agree with you. Let's send the call again to her. Please show up more. We have a demand from Gaza for Adla Sukkar to be more present على webinars.
Yes,
إن شاء الله. And دكتور أشرف هلا إن شاء الله لما يجي هون بروح خليه ياخذ شو اسمه special request for Dr. Adla.
Yes, definitely. Just want to make a comment about what Dr. Yipeng just mentioned. When we had our delay and uncertainty about going out, it felt really bad, and I didn't have this feeling before that you don't have the freedom to move. I never had this kind of feeling before. I was always privileged to be able to move anywhere, anytime, and everywhere. And I have met people who are in their 40s, who never even got closer to the borders to get out of Gaza. And I can't imagine how frustrating that is. I mean, just being there for 3 weeks and not being able to get out, you feel like a prisoner. And can you imagine someone who was born and being middle-aged right now and never, ever had the chance to leave the strip? I mean, this is something to contemplate on, and this is something we have to be thankful for that we have. I think this is one of the human rights. Every single person should have the freedom to move freely anywhere, but there are people who are underprivileged, and we take it for granted. So don't take it for granted, because any of us can lose it anytime.
Yeah, and experiencing it just one time, as Dr. Ashraf said, is a huge discomfort and inconvenience by itself. But imagine if that was your life, all your life. You have always been, contained, not allowed to move. Your life is
I
dispensable.
have met
Yes.
I have met someone in the operating room. He is an administrator in the operating room, whose father and mother are Egyptian, and they live in Egypt. But because his last name is he has the same last name as one of the Hamas leaders, so he was denied to get out of the strip without any other reason except for his name. He does have an Egyptian passport, and he is not even allowed to leave the strip. And this had been going on for his whole life. He's in his mid-20s now. So I mean, it's something that we can't comprehend until we meet the people that are going through this. And the same thing, on the other hand, about Palestinians who belong to this land, who has no right to come back to this land, who had their ancestors living on this land for hundreds of years, thousands of years, and cannot go back to this land. So it goes both ways. So just count your blessings.
Thank you. Thank you for your reflection. Thank you for everything. Inshallah, بشوفكم على السلامة, Dr. Ashraf, and your team and your colleagues. And we'll see you, inshallah, on April 15th. Again, let's remind everyone there is a call, national call for all healthcare workers and their supporters to mobilize on April 15th in DC. And hopefully our colleagues in Canada and UK and other countries can also join in this call, and they can do a similar event in their countries. The Palestinian Prisoners Day, or let's call them the Palestinian hostages, 10,000 of them, also comes, I think, April 15 or April 17th. So also this event can be combined to cover for advocacy to release them. They are all hostages. They are all illegally abducted. They are all being tortured and starved and treated badly at the hands of the criminals, the ghouls, as the human ghouls, as Susan Abel Hawa mentioned. So I'm going to double down on what she said. The human ghouls, the human um, evils in Israel are committing all these crimes. Also, do not forget to support our people in Gaza and Lebanon and West Bank and Sudan and Congo. You have the campaigns to rebuild the hospital, the campaigns to help with the food, with medications. We have the campaign to help. Actually, we have a new campaign. Adla Sukkar, actually, since you reminded me, Dr. Ahmed, Dr. Adla Sukkar will be leading the new program that we are starting in the Doctors Against Genocide, which is the Ministry of Health identified 50 medical residents and the residences that do not have too much traction. Like some residences, like if you are in the emergency room or the OR surgery, the residents will come to you even for free. But there are subspecialties that residents do not feel especially attracted to them. So we are gonna fund those 50 residents, pay them $500 a month for each resident from Doctors Against Genocide. Inshallah, Dr. Adla is gonna be leading this effort, and we are gonna match U.S. doctors here or healthcare workers. Each one of them will sponsor a doctor or resident in Gaza to help these departments go and to help the residents continue to provide there. So she's doing a lot. I mean, just appearing here is just one thing, but she's, mashallah anha, she's doing a lot. Tfaddal. And also don't forget, please, to support our communities in Lebanon and Iran. In Iran, actually, I think because of the sanctions, there is no way that I ever heard that how people can help from outside. It's because Iran has been vilified, demonized for a long time, and because the crippling sanctions on them. But if anyone knows anywhere that there is a way to help or send help to the people of Iran, we would be happy to. I'm not aware of this, and I think it's going to be very challenging, but at least the people in Palestine, in Lebanon, Sudan, Congo, they can still get some help. تفضل دكتور أحمد.
Dr. Ridal, I want to mention that again, if we support the health situation in Gaza, is better 1,000 than to try to evacuate the patient outside. This is very important, and we are working on that. We have to regenerate and renew the health sector again and again in Gaza. All the program of teaching is going on, all the lectures is going on, all the training courses is going on. Our colleagues and our brothers and sisters are coming and supporting us. Inshallah, we will do a good job. Again, I want to mention about what my brother Dr. Ashraf talked about, that if someone talk about what happened for Gaza is a punishment for what happened in 7 October, no way. We were in a jail before. We were in a prison. I came from Egypt to Gaza in 2000s. Now, 26 years, I didn't allow or to get outside Gaza. I am doctor.
Allowed.
I invited, yes, I invited for a lot of conference outside in Egypt, in Jordan, in Saudi Arabia, and even in Spain, but they didn't allow for us to get outside. Even I want to tell you something. It is maybe not related. I used to swim every day, so I asked my colleague from Egypt to send me a fence, زعانف, that help the swimmer to go deeper and to sink, to dive for diving. This fence is not allowed to get inside Gaza because they think that the Palestinian can use it to swim a long distance and get to the settlement that side. This is unbelievable. The Palestinian is not have a real life before 7 of October. So they are not in normal situation. What happened in 7 October is not something action for or reaction for something. It is reaction for what happening from 1948. They didn't have a real life. They didn't have a moral life. They didn't have any rights for teaching, for moving, for traveling, for health, for everything, even for education. Even some drugs, some medication not allowed to do that. Some investigation not allowed to do that. We want to do a board of metabolism screening. It's not allowed for you to do that. We want to do some genetic study for cystic fibrosis. It's not allowed for you to do that. We have to see the worldwide. We have to talk with the worldwide. We have to share our experience and to gain experience from outside. They put us, as Dr. Ashraf mentioned, in a big jail, and they took that this is an area of terrorists. And I swear to God, they are the major terrorists of the world. And what happened? They killed nearly 77,000 people 25 of them are children. They killed him by talking about collateral damage. What is collateral damage? Collateral damage is killing 100 or 200, not 25,000 children were killed in this war. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. And again, what is happening in Gaza and Palestine, Lebanon, and now in Iran is exposing all their crimes, is exposing all their double standards, and exposing all their, supremacist entitlement ideologies. So, as we always said, as Dr. Sui and Heaping said, Gaza is freeing us all. And as Dr. Sui said, everything started, maybe all religions, all faiths start in Palestine. And maybe this correction of this dysfunctional, evil world order now, inshallah, is going to come back and start from Gaza and from Palestine this time again, too. So please keep up the good work, stay safe, stay strong. Stay inspired, encourage your colleagues to join, support the programs that we have, support anything else that you care about that is doing something good to protect the weak, the oppressed. And also, please spread the word for your colleagues to join our national healthcare action in DC 1000 white coats. And for those, fasting in Ramadan, كل عام وانتم بخير. We know Ramadan is coming to an end. Inshallah, in 2-3 days there will be Eid. كل عام وانتم بخير. May God bring this Eid next time when Palestine is free, the world is free, and all the evildoers, the ruling class, are locked up and being held accountable for their crimes. Thank you.
Thank
يلا,
you.
have a good week. We'll see you next week إن شاء الله. كل عام وانتم بخير دكتور أحمد. كل عام وانتم
كل
بخير
عام وانتم
دكتور
بخير.
أشرف. And
كل عام
كل عام وانتم بخير يا
بخير.
ريان. كل عام وانتم بخير.
كل عام
كل
وانتم
عام وانتم
بخير.
بخير حبايبي.
سلم حبيبي سلم. فكر بالتين ايجر بروجكت. اوكي بعد الدراسة، بعد ما تخلص الدراسة. يلا إن شاء الله. سلام.